What's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday night to you all, and I am coming to you live from a bunker in an undisclosed location tonight. No, we are not in the Romero room tonight. We are deep, deep underground. There's some serious shit going on out here. I don't know if you hear it. The bombs are going off. The bombs are dropping. So a little different tonight. Luckily, I was able to grab all my computer and recording equipment and shit and make it down here in time. Hopefully, this blows over real quickly. But just letting you guys know if this is coming in a little weird. Hope everybody's doing well. Realistically, here they're still shooting off a shit ton of fireworks. So, and I'm talking about the big shit, like the fucking massive, big money fireworks. So if you hear that in the background, I do apologize. I don't know how the audio's coming in on this so far. I was talking to Paul off air a second ago. He said my audio might be like an audio test here in a second. After Monday, I'm a little skittish, and especially like setting all my shit up somewhere completely different. But just different situation tonight. I got it's just me and my daughter here tonight. I don't know if she's in bed asleep yet, so just word of warning, just letting you guys know I may have to get up and I don't know, get her a juice or put her back to bed and restart Gremlins or something like that. That's probably more likely. So, but tonight we're going to be talking about Paul Farvour and his Dawn of the Dead collection. I had him on a few months back. We were talking about Romero soundtracks. Really, really enjoyed that. Paul's a great guy. Anybody that knows Paul has met Paul. I mean, nothing but good things to say about this dude. He's one of the coolest guys you'll ever meet. And really excited to have him back on tonight to show off some of his collection, because that was something we touched on at the end of our last conversation on here. So yeah, really looking forward to that. We'll probably talk a little bit about Living Dead Weekend as well. But let me just check, make sure levels are okay before I bring him on. And he's waiting in the green room as we speak, sipping a latte and enjoying our catering that we provide here in the undisclosed location. Just want to make sure everything's looking okay on my end, so we'll go for it. So without further ado, let me introduce to you. Check out, he has a YouTube channel as well. It's at PFM Dude, I believe is what it is. PFM Dude. The link's down in the description below if you guys want to check him out. But bring him on here, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Farvour. How's it going, brother?
How's it going, man? Very happy to be back.
And we're both sporting the BP.
I know,
BMP
man.
trucking.
What are the odds? We didn't plan this. It's that cosmic Romero connection.
We were just like, I knew something. He's going to show some BMP shit tonight. So I was
one of us has to change.
So yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on. Hope everything's been going well for you. And the last time I saw you, it was a kind of somber situation as we were both leaving the last day of Living Dead Weekend, leaving Pittsburgh. Yeah. But how'd you Living Dead Weekend this year, man?
This was the most fun I have ever had at Living Dead Weekend. I mean, we've said it before, and you said it. Everyone said it. It wasn't so much the movies this year; it was the people. It was the friendships. Just hanging out with your friends and family there, and enjoying each other's company to the fullest.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of, I think the more you go, because of course the first time you go, you're kind of in, just like all the mall and everything, you're just kind of taking it all in. You don't really know, but the more you go, the more it is about the people. Yeah,
and the tighter the bonds get.
Yeah. You just, that's because it's like the one time a year that you get to see these people. A lot of the time, a lot of the people that you see.
It's all like over the country, all over the world. Some of them.
Yeah. I mean, I met people like we met a guy that was from Wales. I can't remember what his name was. But we were me, Will, and Synth, Andy. We were standing out in a parking lot talking for hours. I mean, we were just hanging out there talking and bullshit. And this dude walks up and he's just like, "Hey, we're just like, all right, he was just walking around the mall, just taking it in, like on the outside, just going around. Yeah, he flew in from Wales, and he also, I don't know if are you aware of like the Dawn of the Dead, the original Dawn of the Dead vinyl release from '82? You know the whole thing about the red lettering on the back and whatnot?
I've heard things. The one I have, it's black and white. The Dawn of the Dead logo. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that I have too. The red lettering ones are pretty hard to find, pretty rare. And this dude had a backpack on. He was just like, "Oh yeah, and I got some stuff for people to sign, you know." And he's showing off what he's got. And then he pulls out this fucking Dawn of the Dead, and it's got the red lettering on the back. And I was just like, "Oh my god, that like I have never seen one of those in person."
Wow.
And he was just like, "Oh really? Is this worth something?" I was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
kind of. Yeah. It must
yeah."
have been a really short pressing.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Like it was probably like an original run, and then they changed it. I don't know, but
Or for like that Varys Sarban, they did like a club promotion or something. You could get this
yeah,
special red letter vinyl
that
thing.
that's possible too. Um, but
Am I coming in okay?
you sound fine on my end. But
Okay,
hey,
cool.
since sounded fine to me the other night, so who knows?
Okay.
Let me check. Let me check playback here real quick. You can hear yourself on here. Okay, I think we sound okay.
Okay.
We're all
Excellent.
good. Check the chat here real quick. Matt Landrum, my man, I knew you'd appreciate
Mhm.
that musical selection there. It's a band called Ritual Howls. He turned me on to a couple weeks ago. I've been listening to that album Turkish Leather that you suggest. I've been listening to that a lot lately. So good
Nice.
choice, my man. TCCK Films, what's up? Man? Good to see you in here. Synth as what's up, brother? Hey, I love all this stuff. My collection is old and small. Spent most of my money since high school on computers, books, video equipment, and music gear. Synths, especially.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was a period there, like when I was younger and first discovering everything, like I would buy Dawn of the Dead stuff, Romero stuff if I come across it, but I wouldn't like really go out of my way until I don't know, maybe 5 years ago now is when I
Yeah.
really just started like going at it. When did you kind of start like were you just like, okay, I love this stuff. I gotta have this stuff.
Yeah. So for me, it started about, I would say, 10 years ago, roughly. And it wasn't what it is now. It just kind of like was off and on. I happened to have like a decent collection of Dawn of the Dead stuff. And it was just a couple of posters, some CDs, vinyl records, some odds and ends stuff. I had a deck of cards.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had a piece of the escalator for my first trip to Evans City when the Living Dead Museum was in Evans City.
Mm.
And I just, I don't know what it was. I think it was Larry. I saw one of his YouTube videos doing the tour of the mall, and he had stuff for sale. I contacted him, like, and we kind of became friends that way. And then late 2019, it kind of started to pick up. Then the pandemic hit, and I don't know if it was because of that, but it just like exploded. And I'm like, okay, I've seen this movie so many fucking times, and there's all this cool stuff related to the movie. I'm gonna look it up. I pause the movie. I'll look up this walkie-talkie on eBay. I'll look
Mm-hmm.
up Equibank. What is that all about? You know, and there's just so much of this stuff that I've acquired and purchased has just been from random eBay purchases, and
Mm-hmm.
it's readily available on eBay. A lot of it still is there, and just the price was right. And I'm like, I gotta have this. And I'm like, I think this is gonna be like my thing. You know, I'm gonna start collecting this stuff.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of fucked up to say, but like the pandemic is really where it really picked up for me too. And
yeah,
I think a lot of that was people were selling a lot more shit on eBay because they were out of work or they needed extra money. So there was a lot of really cool stuff coming up on eBay. Like here lately, like I've been kind of looking and it's pretty, rare to find something super, super crazy. But back then it was just like going for crazy money.
yeah.
Or like crazy low money. Like I
Right.
remember
Just
I
people
got
just
that
unloading this stuff just to get rid of it, you know.
yeah, I
Checks
got
too.
that the Thorny Am I Dawn of the Dead poster.
Oh, that thing is
You
so awesome.
you know
Yeah.
how much that shit goes for now. I mean,
Yeah.
people are selling those for $500-600
Mhm.
easy online right now. I bought it for $50 from somebody on
50
on
bucks.
yeah,
Man, don't
yeah.
ever get rid of that.
Like it's not in the best shape, but shit, $50. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't beat that for
Well, and
that.
even still, like having those little imperfections, like their little tear here and
Mhm.
there. I don't know. I think that adds a certain charm to it. You
Yeah, it
know,
really doesn't
I love
bother me
that
at all
stuff.
because I don't plan on ever like just reselling it just to resell it. Like I just wanted it, and I was like, you know, it ain't perfect, but it's the Thorny of my poster.
Yeah,
I'm pulling the trigger, $50. I mean,
yeah.
shit, can't beat
And it's
that.
just got that beautiful, perfect, giant Dawn of the Dead logo on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that poster. But do you remember the first thing you bought Dawn related, or
Oh
like
God.
maybe first big purchase that you were just like,
Um, I wouldn't say big, but I mean, besides like the DVDs, the Ultimate Collection, those are,
mhm.
we all know the story with those. Those are awesome.
Yeah.
I think the biggest one was fall of 2005 at Suncoast Video. And that place, I missed that place.
Mhm.
It was just a 24 by 36-inch reproduction one
Mhm.
sheet. And I'm like, oh my God, it's fucking Dawn of the Dead, like the poster. And it was $6. And I got it then, bought a cheap frame from Walmart, framed it. And since then it's been in every place I've ever lived in, like on the wall, except for right
Mhm.
now, unfortunately, but it's stored away. It's safe, but it's in the same frame it's been in since fall of 2005. And yeah, that definitely started something, way back when, my Dawn
Yeah.
obsession.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, I still have the thing. I still have the VHS. The first Dawn thing I ever bought was the VHS, the one with like all the colors. It came out like '99, the
Yeah,
director's
that's the
cut. You
first one
know,
I ever bought too. Yeah, that version. I still have that too.
yeah,
It's the rainbow. I call it the rainbow
yeah, the rainbow
cover.
version.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
the clamshell. Yeah, it's best $5 I ever spent.
yeah. Shit, I think I spent $20 on it, but I saw it in a FYE in Owensboro, and that was the first time I think I'd ever saw it on other than like rental stores, like video stores. Of course, they always had the old Thorny MI VHS. So that was the first time I'd seen that one and for sale. And I was just like, fuck, I gotta have this. And 20
Oh yeah,
bucks back then, I
absolutely.
mean, as a teenager, $20 is like big money.
And for
It's
that
like,
nostalgia thing, I still call the extended cut. I'll always call it the director's cut because it's just
yeah,
it's a special place in my heart. That was the
I know.
first one I saw.
I try to, I try to correctly say like the cans cut or something like that. But in my mind, like I think of it, that's the director's cut.
Yeah,
All
I love
uh,
it. Yeah.
Will Phelps, well, it is about time for you to take over. That's It was funny. I was messaging Paul the other, what was it, yesterday, day before yesterday?
Oh my God.
Just setting a time for when we were going to do this, and I was just trying to be, smart and quoting. I was like, be there at 9 o'clock. Don't make me come looking for you. And he pulls out this whole other thing that expands upon the rest of that scene. And what was it like? I'll be off the air by 9:05 anyway. Phelps is taking over.
Yeah, right. I'm name dropping
You-
someone. I'm like Phelps. I
yeah,
know he'll tune in. Yep.
YouTube's responsibility is finished.
Yep.
Sean, what's up, man? And yeah, Will, Lightning over Braddock. I'm glad you picked up what I did there for Martin. Actually, it's fireworks over Braddock. They're still shooting here. Okay, Sean actually lives in Braddock, so he knows. So technically, there probably is a little lightning and thunder over Braddock right now. We
Nice.
have a thing. We have a thing here in Louisville called Thunder over Louisville, where they just shoot off a shit ton of fireworks. So I've never cared to go, but it's a big deal in Louisville, I guess. McCor, what's up, man? Good to see you. Are you at Jesse Ventura's
Oh
bunker?
my
Yeah,
God.
I'm down here in the Baja with Jesse Ventura.
The
You're
governor of
also,
Minnesota.
yeah. I love Will Sasso does
Oh,
a
that was it. Yes. Will
perfect.
Sasso's Jesse Ventura, and of course his Robert De Niro is
Yeah,
hilarious.
Sasso is hilarious,
Yeah.
but his Jesse Ventura is like perfect, and
Yep.
everything that Jesse Ventura says is about him living down in the Baja.
And it's
So that's
just
what
so
I picked up.
exaggerated. It's just excellent.
The Baja. Uh, Synthware, the civil defense boxes, get out the spam. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is pretty bare in here right now. So I don't know how much longer I'll last in here, but we'll
Well,
see how it
I got
goes.
a water drum, but I think it's all tapped out, unfortunately.
I need to get one. I like that or like some of the civil defense boxes or something. Like I thought I had looked into coming across one of the JCPenney solid state TVs not too long ago, and ended up not working out because the guy that was selling it on eBay just stopped like responding to my messages and never shipped it. And I was just like, it was like a month later, and I was just like typing. I was just like, dude, uh, I'm not mad. Like
I'm just disappointed. Yeah.
Just ship it. That's all. I'm not gonna leave a bad review. I'm not gonna do anything. Like, yeah, just please just ship it. Just ship it. And he never messaged back. I was like, shit. But if I ever get one of those, I'm definitely getting the fucking drum to set it on in my corner.
Oh,
I got
absolutely.
that planned out already.
Yeah, the cardboard one, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sean, let's see. So Sean and Will both saying we sound good. So okay, I think we're good to go tonight. Fingers crossed. TCCK Film says, I doubt this, but I was just curious by any chance, did you go to the Goblin concert in LA where they did the screening of the movie with the band? Me and my friend showed up in the iconic jumpsuits. Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
No, I didn't get a chance to catch Goblin on the recent run. They did New York, LA, and
Austin.
I always want to say Dallas. I don't think you were able to. Have you ever seen Goblin?
Oh God, yeah, numerous times. I can't believe I can actually say that I've seen Goblin in concert. Like, the best one I ever saw was December 2013 here in Milwaukee. They played at Turner Hall Ballroom, and Zombie, if you're familiar with them, they opened up for them.
I think I've checked them out. I don't know if you sent me a link or something to it, or
I think I did. Yeah,
something about it. But yeah, I've checked them out. Yeah,
that was like one of the best shows I've ever seen.
That's a perfect combination.
Exactly. Too. Yeah, just spot on. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see this one. If there was any way I could have, that would have been great. Obviously, Greg Nicotero and Savini went to the LA show.
Yeah, I saw that. Wasn't Eli Roth there too?
Yeah, of course. I'm like, that's wow.
Eli Roth is everywhere.
Right. I guess Nicotero, I asked him about it at Living Dead weekend, and he said they sped up the film because after they played Zombie, the Argento cut, they played another set of Goblin music. So they had to kind of keep things going.
Yeah.
So, and there were a lot of audio sound issues. I'm like, that's a shame.
That seems like trying to play the soundtrack along with the movie. Like, I guess that's what you do when you're doing a score, but shit, like that, doing that live, that takes some balls to try to pull that. But I mean, they do it quite often. I mean, here recently they were in Indianapolis when they were doing the Demons, I believe it was the Demons.
Yeah, I missed that one.
I did too. I've never seen Goblin live. Every time they're even close, it's like it's a 3 to 4 hour drive, and it's on like a Wednesday night. I'm just like, I can't, but I have to at some point.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Let's see. Matt says, yeah, we still got assholes shooting off fireworks here too. Force over fuckers. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying, but
yeah,
no, it doesn't stop around here. The B&P twins, yeah, that's what you can call us tonight. That's
the
B&P twins.
Twins.
See, since saying, hey, Paul. Axel, that's a new name. What's up, brother? That's sweet. Okay. I'm glad. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm glad that whatever we said or did was sweet. So I appreciate that. The DJ from Wales, he was on my tour. Yeah. He was like a DJ too. He was talking about
I was going to bring up that guy from Wales. I think he came up to me during the VIP party and he said that I look like some rapper. It had to be him. It was some guy with a British accent. It wasn't Scott.
Very well could be. Who did he say you look like?
I can't remember the name. It was somebody I've never heard of. But I'm like, do you mean I look like Romero? I'm trying to look like George Romero. He's like, no, it's not that. You look like some rapper. I'm like, all right, I guess.
It's fucking Welsh. You look like a Welsh rapper. That's what
Thanks, because that's really what I was going for. Wales, man.
Matt's saying that Dawn red letter is probably a promo copy, maybe.
Yeah, it could be.
Sounds like a good possibility. Since says my Night Rider's green double vinyl set just showed up. Also, a new synth from Japan, and now this show. Great day. Well, I'm glad we could cap your day off on the right foot there.
Awesome, man.
That's pretty awesome. Did you get that? Did you get any version of the Night Riders?
I don't have. All I have is the CD. I'm probably going to pick up the vinyl one though, just because I want to round out my Romero vinyl collection, and all I need to do is get probably the original version of Martin from like 77 Verisar band, and then Night Riders, and I'll be pretty much good to go.
Yeah,
I don't go crazy collecting vinyl, but if it's like unique and rare, like I'll probably pick it up just to
it depends. Like most vinyl I buy anymore is if there's a band that I discover that I like a couple of their songs, and I'll go buy the record and listen to it all the way through. But yeah, something like that, like the what was it, Scare Flare Records put the Night Riders out. They did
Yeah, that was them.
bang up job on them. It's a beautiful, and it sounds great too. I mean, so they did a great job. I recommend it. Um, since I got the Dawn Thorny in my poster in the 80s when it was $10, well, that would
I
have been
hate
nice
you.
too, but I don't know. Matt saying there used to be a website called Rick's Movie Posters and Graphics, mid 90s. I bought the OG Day of the Dead poster from them and still have it. Meant a lot. Finally have the cast sign that one. That's a original one sheet that I need. I don't have yet. Is the Day of the Dead one.
Yeah,
sheet.
that's awesome.
Paid $40 for it.
Nice.
That's you don't get those those prices anymore these days.
No, but I mean, of course, Day of the Dead poster compared to Dawn, it's always cheaper.
Yeah. Usually the posters are 150 somewhere around there. Sometimes
one sheets.
The Dawn posters have gone outrageous. Like
they're crazy.
If you get a green letter, forget about it. Like if you have like one of the green letter posters, like I have one. I bought it for $700, which is the most I've paid for anything ever that isn't a car or a house.
And it's the one sheet, the folded.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. But even the red, like those are $400 right now. Anything you find on eBay, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I paid $250 for mine 4 years ago, and it's it's pristine. But yeah, I mean, still paid for it.
Yeah. Stukes died. What's up, howdy fellas? Hope you are doing well. So yeah, everybody's joining us for this chat tonight. So yeah, what would you want to start some stuff off? Like, here.
I'll start with some dishware. Some dishes.
Okay. This is the dishware portion.
Yeah, this is the home whatever utensils or dishware. So
home shopping.
So these, I have two of these. These like turkey platters. You put obviously Thanksgiving turkey on it. But shout out to Eric Kent for turning me onto these probably 2 years ago. And the significance is they were from a shop called East. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh.
And a shop called East was a store in the Monroeville Mall. Well, here you go. So if you guys can see that. Yeah. So there's one and there's two. So I don't know how old they are. Like I said, Eric Kent told me about them and they were on eBay for a really good price. And I'm just like, fuck it. I'll just buy both of them. Very unique.
Does this store even exist anymore? Is it still a store?
There's stores like it, but nothing like it used to be. I think it was more of like a hippie kind of head shop type of place back in the day.
It sold turkey platters on the side. It's for your
unique dishware.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Like I've always seen that store. I've always known that name because it's in the background when Roger's in the wheelbarrow. And
just sitting there, and there's product placement, which is cool thing about the mall is that some stores didn't give their permission to be filmed, but you're filming inside a mall with all of these businesses. It's kind of hard not to see the logos of these stores. Candy Tree was one of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's I don't know. We can go down a rabbit hole, just start naming, trying to think of like all the stores we could think. We could just play a game. It's like who could name the most.
Pomodoro, yeah. Well,
Brown Derby,
Foxmore Casuals, Naturalizer, of course.
Naturalizer. Which thanks a lot for that certificate, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm going to pick one of these up, and I happen to pass you. I'm like, you and Will can fight over this. Here you go.
We just got lucky and ran into you at the right time.
Yeah. Oh, and you got that chunk of.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should talk about it. Well, cat's out of the bag, I guess. But
you got a chunk of the wall that it was already broken anyway. I didn't break
it. It was deteriorating.
Yeah, it was just there. But yeah, that is the cool thing about Dead. The fact that it was shot on location in a real mall and the stores that were in there really did exist.
Yeah.
Like that's an extra piece of like collecting like something like just like that that you can't really do for a lot of movies, where because the stores will just have made up names or something like that. But it's
Exactly.
like if there's something kind of cool about owning something from a store that was in Dawn of the Dead. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that was from that mall at that time period, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's pretty crazy. Looks like you got some fans in the house tonight. Megan Farvour. I don't know if there's any relation there,
yeah, it is
but
my wife.
and
Yeah, she's upstairs right now.
oh, okay.
Hi.
So, so the hottie on the right is your husband.
Yes,
I don't know if he looks different, but good to see you. I've never met your wife, but
she's an angel.
she seems to think
She
she seems
allows
to
me to
think.
do all this dorky stuff.
Yeah, yeah. That's important. It takes a special kind to deal with to deal with our shit
Just
sometimes.
nerdery. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Matt's saying Scare Flare is owned by Grace Rex, I believe. Ryan Grayface handles film contracts really well. Also runs Terror. Oh, okay, TerraVision. Okay, I didn't know that they were in cahoots. But I resent that better wording, but the hot topic of its day was that what it was? A place
Oh,
called
you know
East
what?
was the hot topic of its day.
Yeah. Or kind of like a upper scale, like Spencer Gifts, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that. I thought it was something Asian related because it kind
Yeah,
of
because
looks like the
Eastern.
logo and it
Yeah.
says, place, yeah.
And if you look in the movie, the outside of the
They
store
sell
is kind of like,
kimonos and shit.
yeah, very Chinese.
Sean says Candy Tree was his favorite store. Sean, do you remember? I don't know how old you are. I know you live in the Pittsburgh area in Braddock, but do you remember any of these going to these stores or anything back in the mall back in the day? Because that would be pretty cool. He says D Pomodoros had the view of the ice rink while you ate. That's right. I think Larry talks about that
Yeah.
on his tour. Stuka says, "Hey man, did you catch the battery yet?" I have not. Synth actually texted me earlier and said that he just downloaded it, so I think he's getting ready to check it out. But have you? Is that one you've seen, The Battery? It's like a newer zombie film, I think from 2012.
I have
Uh,
not. No.
I've heard a lot of people rave about it. They say it's really really good. So. 1911 Guitar Dude, what's up, man? The 9/11 Dead Chiller Theater shirt immediately got me a 20-minute conversation in Home Depot with a guy from town. Awesome. I'm
Nice.
proud. That's my goal. If my T-shirts, it's got to be a conversation starter. People that know, if you know type of thing.
Yes,
And if you meet
exactly.
somebody who knows, it's like okay, we're cool. That's why I love shirts like this or like the B&P shirts or Iron City. It'll just
People just
you
get it.
find the people
They're
that
going to
know.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like if you know this, then we can talk. 20 minutes in a Home Depot for sure.
Yep.
He's from the town where they shot Night 90, so that was Washington, PA. That's cool. Some of his family are zombies in it. They know Savini. Wow. So
Nice.
I'm glad you befriended this guy. Hopefully you got his number. You guys are gonna hang out again. Maybe get him on the channel. Get his family on the channel. We'll talk about because Night 90 is one that I want to. I don't know if I've ever asked you that. Are you a big fan of Night 90?
It's okay. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I have nothing but respect for it. You know, I think
Yeah, I'm kind of the
Savini
same
did a
way.
great job directing it and making it into the modern era. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one I think that ages better over time. I think more and more people are praising it more as it and more so now than it did when it came out for sure. But that was the first zombie movie I ever saw. So that kind of will always hold a special place in my heart just for
Yeah.
that. Um yeah, with the haircut place had a funny name, Your Father's Mustache. Yeah, that's what which is still a salon or barber shop or whatever it is now. Um
I have a your father's mustache matchbook. I'll have to show off. It's in my little pile here.
okay, go ahead.
We'll move on to this next. This is an original Equibank um, cash bag they would have given out or whatever business would have used. I thought about using this for like a toiletry bag when I go to Living Dead weekend, but it's old, probably early '80s, so it's kind of gross. But hey, had to have it, you know. So got some stuff in here. We have. Do I have that somewhere? Oh yeah, right here. You can see that. Your Father's Mustache matchbook. Of course, the Monroeville Mall phone number and the light. There you go. So yeah, another random eBay score. We have a couple other ones. A B&P. We'll go through that. A matchbook. Got the, of course, the classic logo and then all the locations on the back. And then we have Charles the Cobbler shoe repair with this cool metallic kind of cover on it. Yeah, something's not featured in the movie, but it was in the mall at the time the Dawn was filmed, so had to have that. And of course, Equibank matchbook. Because when banks gave out matchbooks, that was when everybody in the United States was smoking. So that was pretty cool. And I guess we'll just. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Can you hear me when I jump off screen?
No.
Oh, okay. So I'll know that for sure next time.
Am I just when you do that? Am I just like on my own then?
I guess so. I was trying to talk to you over. I thought maybe my mic wasn't muted, but I guess it is. But either way, it's worked. You did very fine. You did a fine job. Cool. But yeah, that is the funny thing. Like something like even if it's not
from the movie.
Yeah, like even if it wasn't in the mall, like you don't see it in the movie, just the fact that it wasn't in the movie, the fact that it was in the mall is still cool enough to
yeah,
have.
Exactly. It was in that that spot when the movie was filmed, so people know about it. It might have been, Romero might have had that. Maybe I'll keep that in the back of my mind. They can go rob the shoe store or something,
Yeah, yeah. So how do you come across a lot of this stuff? Is it mostly eBay, or have you come across some of it in the wild before?
Yeah, most of it, I would say about 85% of it was on eBay. A few random things was on Etsy.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of it was just from Living Dead weekend, going to the Living Dead Museum, buying some stuff. That's just a couple of small things. And then people there at Living Dead weekend, would give me stuff, or we'd maybe trade some stuff. And some of the stuff was from trading through people over the years, from like Matt Landrum, a couple of things over the years. That was fucking awesome. Larry, a couple things over the years. I think Eric Kent, a couple of things. I don't have a lot of the stuff out, but yeah, like just that mutual connection of like, oh, you have this, well, I'll trade you this for that. I like this in my collection.
Yeah.
What can I give you in return? Well, what do you have? That's awesome.
Yeah,
and it could be the most minor thing. Like, I don't care. It's just cool to have that unique item. And again, it just solidifies that friendship. We're all in this together, and collecting this stuff, no matter how minor it may be, is just a blast. So
yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, I got so much shit now that a lot of the times now when I'm going through it, I'm just like, I bet so and so would like this, or I bet so and so could use this, or just different. Because like I said, there was that long period there where I was just buying anything I could get my hands on for, like, if it was a good price, like if it was just like an 8x10 photo of something, I'd buy it. Lobby cards and shit like that, and it's just stuff that I got packed away now. I got nowhere to put it. I'm completely out of wall space. I'm almost out of room in general up, in my room. So I got a lot of this stuff just packed away, and it's just like, so and so would love to have this. But that's the cool thing about it, though, and that it goes back kind of like Living Dead weekend. It's like that time of year where all those people get together, and you can kind of trade and talk and exchange stuff.
And it's cool. Like if you have doubles of stuff too. Like I bought two of the blood pressure, like old school blood pressure things. And it was like, oh my God, two of them on eBay was like $12. I'm like, well, perfect. I'll have Tony Booba sign one. I'll bring them both, give one to someone else. And I gave it to Michelle Parsons, and she had it signed. I'm like, that is awesome. So she was super thrilled to have that. And yeah, again, pass it on,
Tell everybody what you brought for Tom Atkins to sign. Cause that's brilliantly hilarious.
It's in the case. We'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll save that for a little bit later.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, moving on to some other stuff. This was actually a most recent purchase. So this is a original Sheridan Inn on the mall. From when it was the Sheridan Inn before it became the DoubleTree, probably from 60s or 70s, maybe. There we go. So that's what it used to look like back in the day. And then on the back is just information about the hotel. And you can see the DoubleTree, what it used to, in its glory, what it used to look like. And that was pretty cool because it says, adjacent to indoor enclosed shopping mall with 140 stores, indoor skating rink, theaters. So yeah, when malls were, of course, blowing up, that was a really cool piece to get.
Yeah, the DoubleTree. I mean, what do you think is going to happen with that? I know that's been a big point of conversation.
I figured this would come up in conversation at some point tonight. We got to talk about it.
That's where we first met. Like that. Yeah. That's the first time we actually
outside talking about the drum covers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was so awesome meeting you there, man. That was really fucking cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's the cool thing about the DoubleTree, though, is that that's where you can meet a lot of people. Because I mean, what was midnight?
Everyone was staying there.
Yeah. Right outside, drinking some beers, and Larry's going around shaking hands, kissing babies, and doing Larry's thing.
Yeah.
And everybody's just out there hanging out. So I'd like to see it come back as with other owners or something, But
I unfortunately do not have high hopes for it at this point. Would not get my hopes up for it for next year. It doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just have a bad feeling about it. Not the mall, has nothing to do with that, but just the hotel in general. I feel like there's going to be no activity on it. Not trying to be negative, but just realistic, So, but we'll make it fun. We'll figure something out for next year, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out for this year. I mean, we didn't have that common gathering spot that you could literally just walk back and forth from the mall. Like that was cool.
Yeah.
And staying there and having that, the view of the mall. If you got one of the rooms on the mall side, like there was, best view that a person could possibly have. In my opinion.
Missed that.
Sean says, I'm 52. I remember a lot of the mall as it was in the movie, and in front of Penny's. I stand in front of Penny's that made iron-on T-shirts, Brown Derby, etc. Okay, so 52. Yeah, you would have been like right around that time period. So just I guess as a kid. Since his Night 90 work print was better for sure. Need those quotes. Have you seen the work print version of Night 90?
Just some of the deleted scenes. Of course, the headshot, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And some of the bullet hits, of course,
Yeah, I'm probably going to put that work print version up on my channel if it doesn't get taken down.
Oh, please do. Yeah, I definitely.
I'm going to throw it up for anybody who hasn't seen, because I know a few people who haven't seen it yet. And I think it's good. I mean, I think it's better than the original just because the score not score, but I mean, it's just, it's just a work version. So they just laid it with a bunch of tracks from other stuff. Like there's some Tangerine Dream and some John Carpenter stuff in there.
Just filler. Yeah.
Just bits and pieces from all over the place. And I kind of like that better than the Paul McCullough score personally, but
yeah, please, definitely. I will definitely check that out if you upload that for sure.
It's not in the best condition. It's pretty
It's a
rough,
work print. Yeah.
But it's watchable.
Mm-hmm.
Sean says, I don't remember seeing the gun store, but I never did skate there. Just watched through the windows. Well, the gun store was actually not in the mall. A little bit of movie magic there. The gun store, I can't remember what it is now, but
it's a Sherwin-Williams paint store, I believe.
Okay. That sounds right.
In East Liberty. So just like northeast of downtown, I believe.
So yeah, the gun store wasn't actually in the mall. And I can't remember when they actually shut down the ice rink. It wasn't
I want to say that was like very mid 80s.
Yeah. It wasn't too
early to mid 80s.
Don was shot there. Guitar Dude said the guy I met in Home Depot loves the original Night of Living Dead and grew up with Chiller Theater. He says he laughs every time he sees his family in Night 90. So he can't seriously because of that. Yeah, I mean that's I think that's normal. If you see, I mean, unless you're like Russ Striner's mom, the story where Russ took his mom to see it, and 5 minutes in she was just like, "Oh, Russ, he broke your glasses," and she was freaking out, and they left after that. But yeah, it's kind of hard to, when you're working on something where somebody in it, it kind of takes you out of the out of the situation,
Absolutely.
I'm sure. Gun stores in another town. Okay. That makes sense.
Gunner's Den. Yeah, that's right. It was called Gunner's Den.
Gunner's Den.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there were 2 locations. There was one in East Liberty, and there was one a little bit further west, I believe.
Okay. I didn't know that. I thought there was
Yeah.
maybe one. Like a guitar dude. Paul inspired me to start hunting for propalikes. Is that your preferred term for these type of things? Propalikes
Proper
or
likes. I never really thought of
I'd never
calling it like an
heard that
official
term
term.
until I went to the Living Dead Museum, and of course they got the TV, the solid state TV, and it says, Dawn of the Dead prop-alike, and I was like, "Is that a term?" Like,
Yeah. I'd say proper like items related to the movie, not from the movie, but related to, which
yeah,
because it's Dawn of the Dead makes it that much more awesome. So
exactly. Um, got a pair of walkie-talkies. I think are the exact kind from Dawn of the Dead.
yes.
They make me feel like a kid again. Normal people can't understand. Yeah. Uh, I
I
need
actually,
more of that stuff. I have.
I actually had 2 of those, and I donated one to the museum last year.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
so that was pretty
Uh,
cool.
yeah, Larry got that screen accurate JCPenney TV.
That was like last year or earlier this year, I think. God,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Since saying I'm still worried about the mall, lots of stores were closed, including the spaces they used for Hall A through E. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be there forever. No, I mean it's not. But I mean, who knows? I mean, malls may have some kind of resurgence, but it doesn't look like the people that own it now are really into upkeep in a lot of ways. I mean,
Yeah,
so I don't know. Maybe it needs new ownership. Maybe they need to do something different. Because I mean, it's funny. It seems like most malls now, like the only way they're trying to get people to come is for like axe throwing and shit like that. Like there's all these stores for these like random things,
yeah,
and
like weird games or something like that.
yeah, it's like people hate fucking shopping now. And I also heard like Macy's is apparently closing or
Supposedly, yeah, I heard
leaving.
that too.
That's a big anchor, and that's
Big,
not
yeah,
good.
2 levels. So
Uh, For music, oh, the music breakdown. Yeah. Synth went through and put down like every track and everything from that Night 90 work print. He picked it all out. So he knows where like every scene, like what music was used where. It's pretty it's pretty awesome. But yeah, I got the whole list. I'll put it up. I'll probably put it in the community section. I'll just make a post with it. Um, Matt says never stayed at the DoubleTree. We typically stayed at the Marriott down the street. We'll have the dogs with us this time, so we'll be in Airbnb it next year. Cannot wait. Yeah, I mean that the Airbnbs. I mean, if you can find a good deal on them,
yeah,
but they can run pretty pricey. Um, we just ended up staying in Cranberry Township at the Clarion there, from where I stayed in October, because it was just like it was $90 and it was a nice hotel. They have a bar, and I was just like, okay, that works for me. I'll drive a little extra distance, but it just gives you an excuse to stop and do other things on the way
oh
there.
yeah, yeah. I stayed at the extended stay this year, and never again. It was. I mean, they had a full
You are
kitchen with a full size fridge, which was like the only thing that was nice. I mean, otherwise, just wear socks the whole time. It was
oh
so
wow,
gross, just an
that yeah
absolute dump.
yeah
Permain Brothers was right next door, so that was a big plus.
that's a big plus. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of hotels now, because it was. I'm glad I picked the Clarion. And I was just like, I'll just drive a little farther, but it was between that and the Red Roof,
Ooh,
down in Monroeville, which I've stayed at before, and it wasn't great. But I was just like, yeah,
you get what you pay for.
yeah. I'm trying to go cheap, but
Yeah,
luckily, I mean, the fucking Clarion was cheaper. So
yeah.
okay, here we go. Stukas has been drinking. You know, this dude's been drinking when he starts sending in who's going to win a fight, or if we could fight anybody, or who's going to fight who. So, if you could fight any zombie from Dawn 78, who and why?
Oh man. Probably. Is it Jay Stover, the one with the rifle?
You would fight him? He's fucking armed.
No, yeah, he is, but he doesn't know any better. So you can just grab that thing out of his hand, and you're armed. Done.
Yeah. Or you could just,
M16.
or you just reach over, pull the trigger as he's staring at it.
Exactly.
That might
Well,
work
why did
too.
Roger not do that?
Yeah.
Every time I watched Dawn, every single time, why didn't Roger just? They had the camera shot right there too. Like, dude, just shoot him.
That is
Forget the door
interesting.
for a half a second and just
But see, like that seems like purposefully done for some reason from George. I feel like he made that for when Fran frees the nun zombie. Like George
yeah.
was like, no, you can't shoot her. She's a nun. Just let her
Well,
go.
yeah,
So I
that's
feel like
true.
there has to be something George was getting at with just not why Roger wouldn't just something so obvious like, oh, here's an obvious gag. Let's just, or maybe it was, I don't know.
I also think maybe now that you mentioned that, since Jay Stover was, what was he, the unit manager?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but yeah, he worked behind the scenes. He's in a lot of behind the scenes photos and shit.
He maybe George was like wanting to give him a highlight his role just a little bit more with, oh, you're going to be holding this rifle, walking around like a dumbass, pointing at yourself, and you don't know how to use it, but maybe you have some memory of, oh, I'm supposed to hold this up.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, see, my thought always has been that he wanted somebody to pull the trigger because he still had, his old self inside of him, and he didn't want to be a zombie anymore. He was like Roger. He was just like, I don't want to be one of these people, and he just had the rifle and he's just holding it there, like hoping somebody would pull the trigger. He just couldn't figure out how.
And
that's
fast forward all the way to Land of the Dead with the Big Daddy using the gas pump. I mean, it was evolution, They were evolving. They were like communicating. I don't know. We don't have to talk about Land of the Dead if you don't want to, though.
I mean, we can.
Like
we're coming up on the 20-year anniversary, but
exactly.
I like Land of the Dead too. Like I said, I didn't. They
made Land of the Dead too.
I wanted to. No, I love that. Oh. I like Land of the Dead as well.
I know.
But yeah, you visited the archive here recently.
Oh my God! Right? Yes.
Did you read the original Dawn treatment from like the early 70s? Like I think it's like 87 pages long or something like that. Did you read that?
I skimmed through a lot of it. I didn't read the whole thing because there were like 3 or 4 different scripts. I read George's letter to Rubenstein.
Oh,
that was
really?
From like April '74, when he pitched Rubenstein the idea for Dawn of the Dead, like his handwritten on loose leaf paper.
I didn't see that.
Holy fuck!
I got to go back to the archive. I was there for 4 hours, and I feel like I barely saw anything.
Yeah,
it's just like that was just like so much.
And I only went through 3 boxes, and I took a picture of the boxes on the card, and I'm like, yeah, that's like $10 million right there. Just unbelievable stuff I was allowed to handle, and
it's insane.
Shit, it was just.
I remember being like, hey, do I need gloves or anything?
Yeah,
for this?
Me too.
They
were
just like, no, it's actually better that you don't wear gloves. And I was like, oh, okay.
But I'm gonna go back because I didn't even scratch the surface of stuff that's there and stuff that I want to see now.
Yeah, I didn't either. So there's so much there. It's insane.
Yeah.
To dedicate like a whole day to it. Like the last time I went I was like, I got to leave at 12 because I was driving back home that day from Pittsburgh. So I got to leave at 12. So 12 rolled around. I read the whole treatment from start to finish. I was like, this is the thing I want. What was George's original idea for Dawn of the Dead? Read it all the way through from like start to finish. And it does just kind of end. I feel like George just kind of said, this ain't working. I'll try something different, because it's more. I don't know if it came off to you that way, but it felt more to me like the Omega Man or something. Like the zombies were already advanced and smart and communicating and driving cars and stuff.
It was very ambitious. From what I read, like you definitely could tell he wanted to do a lot more with that script or that draft. And of course, money wise and what he could do, can't do that. Well, I guess we'll just call our friends and we're going to do it the old fashioned way. And Rubenstein, of course, was behind him 100% and, financed it. And of course, Dario Argento, we all know that story.
Yeah. Yeah. Rubenstein gets a bad rap, but I have a lot of love and respect for Rubenstein.
I do too. Yeah. What he did for George in his career. I mean, yeah.
Well, hey, Stukas, that silly question got us off on a nice little tangent there. So it turned out to be a good question after
Oh yeah,
all.
that was a good question. Yeah.
uh, Rich T's in the house. What's up, man? Hey, first piece I got was a Dawn poster book in '94, a gift from my mom. You must be overseas, sir. Mum. It is signed by George, and I will try and get it signed by Scott later in the year at Weekend of the Dead. Okay, so you're over in the UK for Weekend of the Dead.
Awesome, man.
I'd fucking love to fly over there for Weekend of the Dead one
I've
time.
seen pictures from that, man, and they do so much cool shit there. They
Yeah.
did like a stand-up thing of Rhodes. You could like stick your head in there, and they had the torso and like the intestines hanging out. I'm like, that is hilarious. I'd love to do that.
Was that the same year that they did the Wall of Hands photo op with
Yes.
Lori?
Yep.
Yeah.
Through the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yep. I'd
god.
love to fly over there sometime for that. But
And I know John Rice has done that several times.
I know that was so confusing to me because like I kept seeing like every Living Dead weekend, I was like, no John Rice, no John Rice, no John Rice. And I was like, oh, maybe he just doesn't do them. Then I'd see like Weekend of the Dead, it'd be like
Yeah,
John
and
Rice.
he's
I'm like,
there. Yeah.
I was like, well, maybe does he live in the UK now or like what is it? But I guess that he was just like, hey, it's a trip overseas, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I'm really glad he finally did a Living Dead weekend this year. It was
Yeah.
awesome getting to
He
talk
could
to
not have been
him.
nicer, really.
Yeah, he really. I mean, that was the cool thing is like we walked up to his table and he was just like, "Okay, you guys want a story?" And I'm like, "Yes,
Yeah.
please tell us anything." And did you know? I don't know if were you there when we met him? Were you with us?
I was
that
right
day?
behind you guys, I think. We were
Okay.
talking to Bill Lasco for a bit, and then I think we kind of
Yeah.
separated.
Okay, yeah. So the guy, in the director's cut, Can's cut, or whatever, the old guy that's at the beginning of the tenement scene when he's like the guy that pops up and he's like, looks like they're really going to try to fight us. You know
Yeah.
that guy? That's actually John Rice's dad. Joe Rice, I think is his
Wow.
name. I never knew that. He was just like, yeah, that's my dad. He would for years after the fact, he would always talk about like, oh yeah, I told George how how to direct that scene, and I told him how I was going to say my line, and he said, "Why don't you do it this way?" I was like, "No, I'm going to do it my way. It'll be better." Just making a joke out of it. He's like, he joked about that for the rest of his life. But yeah, John Rice was so cool to finally meet.
See, and that connection, like the first zombie that attacks Flyboy outside of the hangar was, I think that's Nick Tallo's dad.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
sounds right. Yeah.
So again, who do you call?
Yeah,
You call your friends.
I mean, friends and family. I mean, the entire Forrest family was in there. I think Cliff Forrest Jr. He's in it. I mean, he runs Iron City and Pittsburgh Brewing Company now.
Yep.
I mean, he's a big made guy. I want to say Christine's mom is in it somewhere as a zombie. So it's yeah. That's the cool thing about that. I think that's what inspired me the most about it when I was younger. Like when I first saw it and wanted to make films was like, oh, George did this and he just got all his friends and family together to do it. And that's my thought. I was like, I can just do this here in Hopkinsville. I can make movies in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. It's like, why not?
Yeah.
Sean says Century 3 Mall was another local mall, very big, very popular, that went to hell and closed. I see Monroeville taking the same route. Well, I mean, let's hope not, but
yeah,
you never know. I mean, shit, these places aren't going to be around forever. No
exactly.
matter, there's no getting around it. Rich T says, Shirley, you'd fight the Hare Krishna zombie? Maybe. I don't know.
I think let's focus on fighting zombies that didn't die. So like the featured zombies.
Okay. Yeah. If you could fight them now, like they're still walking around
they're
somewhere
still
now.
walking
if you
around.
came across them, who could you take? Somebody mentioned the baseball zombie, the Box Arco Pitcairn zombie.
Yeah.
He seemed pretty out of it, like tired, and wasn't going to put up much fight. He didn't seem to really give a shit about
and just
France
put him out of his misery. Yeah.
He just sitting there,
Mm.
So yeah, that would be a good one, I think.
But not the nun.
No, not the nun.
Can't shoot a nun.
Can't shoot a nun. Can't fight a nun.
No.
You're not supposed to, at least.
Are you sure? I
mean, it comes down to it. I mean, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Since My LW Hope Motel was a great scene for Twin Peaks or a serial killer's lair. It's in one of my vids. Need to be more choosy next time. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you go more than once, you kind of figure out like where to stay, where not to, and kind of what to avoid and what to, So
yeah.
Oh yeah, Stu is saying he'd fight the baseball guy. Since the Mall's Pond / Penny zombie was the easiest to fight kill, he never looked up. That's true. Axel saying gotta love Rubenstein. So yeah, I mean, like I said, he gets a bad rep from a lot of people just because he's so guarded with Dawn and Martin and doesn't just put out a ton of releases every year. And so people are always just like, oh, why doesn't he make money and put this out? Why doesn't he let Scream Factory do a version of Dawn of the Dead or something like that? But I kind of respect that about him because he's not just throwing it out there
Yeah.
to anybody willing to pay for it. He's kind of saying like, no, this is, I don't.
Did you say in one of your videos that if Rubenstein did give as Arrow or Shop Factory a number, and if they were to put Dawn out, it would have like bankrupted him? Did you say that at one point, or did Larry say that?
I've heard that before. I may have said it at some point, but I've heard that from a lot of other people. I've heard the number, the figure that he's looking, because he wants to do a package deal with anybody that wants to put out Dawn of the Dead. They have to do a release of Martin too, which is why Second Sight ended up doing both the Dawn box set and the Martin box set.
Yeah.
I don't know what they paid for it, being overseas and whatnot, but I've heard that he wants, I think he wants at least 6 figures, if not 7 figures for a deal just up front. Which, I mean, how do you make that back in this day? Because I mean, physical media is such like
a niche.
Yeah, it's become a very niche thing, which people will pay a shit ton of money for stuff now. I see people like Vinegar Syndrome and Severin, places like that, where they'll do a release and it's like $70-80 for not even a particularly good movie, but
like
people,
yeah,
and people will go out of their fucking minds for it. So I don't know if they could do that with something like Dawn, but
see, I love the movie Daryl. That's one of my favorite car chases, and Barrett Oliver is fucking awesome. But it's one of those things like that boutique. Do I need to have that in my collection? Probably not.
Yeah, and that's the thing for me too. It's like I'd like to own a lot of those movies, but I don't need a $60 deluxe version of it. Like I would just like to have it just to watch it. Like maybe $15 for a Blu-ray. Like that's all it needs. Like that's all Flesh Eater needs. You don't need a 4K of Flesh Eater.
Yeah,
but that's the game now, I guess. It all seemed to stem from Matheson's short story, I Am Legend. Yeah, I mean, George has talked about that many times, that I Am Legend was kind of his inspiration for Night of the Living Dead, on Earth, Omega Man. I'm sure George was heavily influenced, maybe subconsciously. Yeah, I mean, that's probably very true, too. But, I mean, it's kind of the funny thing about that Dawn script, the original treatment or whatever, is that it did kind of take... It was kind of what George ended up doing over the span of multiple decades and 6 movies or whatever it was, and kind of getting all those ideas out. But instead of just making it all happen in one movie, he just spread it out over, the next 5 decades or whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly.
70s, 80s, 90s, 5 decades. Well, almost 5 decades. Christine's mom and dad are in Dawn. Dad's in the parking lot. Zombie and mom when the bikers break in. That's right. Which I think Christine's dad, the zombie he plays, actually has a gnarly little makeup effect on too, where he's got the coming down his nose. And Matt says Daryl fucking rules. One of my all favorite films from childhood.
I know, the movie is so good.
All right. What do you got for us next, man?
Okay.
What else you got?
A little bit bigger stuff. We'll do this. So this is an original, unused JCPenney shopping bag, which you would have seen these in the movie. This swirl pattern is in some of the bags. You can see when Peter's getting candy and when they're in the bedroom with Roger. He's in bed and you can see this bag, or with this swirl pattern on the side. And this was unused. I mean, I got this from some random eBay score, somebody in Wisconsin. It was cheap, and it still has like the, do not remove little tag on the side. So this was really cool to find that new old stock Penny's shopping bag. So let's see. Next, we'll go over this. This is an original ad from a see that glare. A a Pittsburgh magazine for B&P Motor Express. Has all the locations from Baltimore to Pittsburgh. And this is really, really cool to have because it's so simple. It's got the logo and everything, all the information you need to know on it. Cool to have that. Another eBay score. I don't know what magazine it actually is from, but somebody carefully cut it out and put it on eBay.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Wasn't that part of the video you did back in 2021? I remember seeing that.
Yeah, yep. When I had my whole collection, like all spread out through the basement. Yep.
And it's funny. I think we settled on that B&P stands for Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So just to settle that officially.
Yeah.
Because that was a question that I don't know, hardly anybody knew the answer to. Go ahead. What else you got, man?
I have this. Sorry about the glare from my phone. This is actually an invoice for movie posters and stills from the Leave It Theater in Oquinket, Maine from 6/21/79. And they were buying posters and one sheets for very cheap, as you can see. Again, very sorry about the shadows and everything, but you guys can make that out at all. Yeah, when posters and stills were just dirt cheap, as you can see. But this was really cool to get this. There's probably not too many of these things floating around. Original dated and stuff on it. This is when, it was in theaters, its first run in theaters. And yeah, saw this. It was cheap, just could not pass it up. Very, very awesome to have this thing. So yeah, for four stills and 2 one sheets, $10.61. What a time to be alive. So
yeah, those are old Rubenstein numbers.
Oh yeah,
it's like wouldn't go for that now. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I'm kind of gotten more into, tracking down on eBay now. Is like just like lobby cards and still promotional photos and stuff from theaters and just stuff like that.
One-off things like that.
Yeah, just documentation that that the film existed at one point. Like I'm getting more into that. I had like a action figure phase for a while. I got into a physical media phase where I would just buy anything, VHS, Blu-ray, DVD, whatever. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff now that if I come across it on eBay, that I'm just like, wow, I gotta have that. I gotta have that. Perfect example of that too. I don't know if I would guess that you probably do. I would actually bet that you probably do. Some of the somebody was selling, and it went for a pretty good price, but it was like a collection of like the Monroeville Mall. What are those fucking cards called? The postcards.
You know oh God, yeah.
Do you have any of those?
I have a few of them, but they're like reproductions. Because it says in the back, filmed, Dawn of the Dead was filmed here.
Yeah.
But the museum has like the whole original set of them. And those are like, that's like a holy grail item.
Yeah. That's
when it looked like it did when it was filmed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of my holy grail items too. And like I saw that whole collection on eBay not that long ago, and it ended up going for a ridiculous price, way out of my price range.
Yeah. I remember that too. It was like, don't even bid because you're not going to get it.
I think I did put in a bid, and to me the bid was high, and it just blew way past my bid. I was just like, all right, I give up. Like I'll watch it just to see where it goes, but what you got? Anything else you want to show off here real quick?
Yeah, this is kind of cool. This is a letter or an advertisement for a sale of furniture, and it's from Wix Furniture, which would have been, I think they provided the furniture for the Hideout, and it was at the mall. This might have been actually a not a store in the mall, but like in the annex buildings close by, like by the DoubleTree, I think is where this was. And it was just an invitation to this Wix private sale event. I'm guessing sometime in the 80s. I don't know. There's a name on here, but there's really no date. But this is kind of cool to have, just because that's that place that provided furniture for Dawn of the Dead. So that was really cool. Keep going a little bit. I got this Equibank pen. I wish it said Monroeville Mall on it. That'd be awesome. This is very, very unique. Of course, if anyone who knows that the big wedge of cheese that Peter grabbed when they were the montage scene, Jarlsberg cheese, which actually is pretty damn good cheese. I got some of that from Costco last year, and it's pretty good. Moving along, we have these, which I just showcased today. Yes, these are official Dawn of the Dead video games. Go look them up right now. They're on eBay. Okay? I'm dead serious. No, I'm just kidding. This is actually anticipation for NES.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was something completely different on the video I watched earlier, Paul.
Yes. Yeah, these labels were custom made by a shop on Etsy, and it was just too cool. Like, he did the designs. I asked him to do Dawn of the Dead. A couple weeks went by, he emailed me these designs. I'm like, yes, that's fucking awesome. And they are actual playable games you can put in your NES. So this is Anticipation, and this is Supercross 2000. So, yeah, it's just cool to have,
Those are
very
cool,
unique.
yeah.
But yeah, I knew that video would get a few hits. So
yeah, unfortunately, it's not the actual guy. That's I've had dreams of that my entire life, is playing an actual like licensed Dawn of the Dead video game.
Well, and also the cherry on the sundae on this one is they put the Konami logo on it. So if they had made this back in the day, not like fucking LJN, it would have been like $1,000 NES game.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to play a Dawn of the Dead game that came out like the Total Recall game or something,
or Back to the Future or Jaws.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I probably still would play because it's Dawn of the Dead, but
yeah, especially back then, because I loved Total Recall when I was a kid. So when I found Total Recall on NES, I put it in. It's just your Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it's just a little guy like walking, and then he just punches people.
Have you seen the ABGN video of that?
Oh yeah.
It's priceless. Oh my god.
Yeah, those games were pretty rough to get by. Some of the wrestling games were okay, but outside of that, yeah, LGN
is just not good at making movie-based games.
But Konami, though, I would be down to play a Konami Dawn of the Dead game.
Oh, absolutely. Anything like Contra or Castlevania? I mean, yeah.
Since loving all those 70s colors and patterns on that bag, that JCPenney's bag, that's pretty awesome. Paul, do you display these items or do you keep them stored? That's a good question.
Yeah, some of these I do have out on display. The stuff that's here in front of me that I'm just showing off is just mainly stored away. Just wall space is kind of not 100%, and I just can't put everything up, I want to put up. But the stuff that I have is I have a display cabinet back there. We'll move on to that shortly. That's where like a lot of the like really special stuff is, I think, and stuff in my collection that I'm like really proud to show off. But at some point I will put everything out that I have. It's just wall space,
Yeah,
and I want to make it look somewhat organized, not like cluttered around and stuff. So
yeah, that's me, man, 100%. Like when I say wall space is limited, like there is wall space, but at some point, like if I just put too much, it just starts to look like a hoarder, and like there's just too much. Yeah, it's
got to have some kind of pattern too, and just looking
like your
right.
Setup your setup you got now looks good. Like that looks good. Like it's organized. Like it looks like an adult lives there. That type of thing. I'm very particular about that type of stuff. So I have a lot of stuff just kind of stashed away. A lot of stuff in binders and stuff like that. It's just like, I would love to frame all this stuff and put it up, but if I did, I would need, an entire house to do it pretty much.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't have that ability. Matt, also, I imagine it would be hard to find, to display everything.
And like a lot of little stuff too, like this thing where, I wanted to make it look nice, but I just throw it somewhere just for the hell of it, I want to make it so it looks good.
It's just cool to have, just so every now and then when you just want to pull it out and look at it and be like, that's cool.
Oh, cool. I have that. That's awesome. Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself doing that where you just rediscover shit that you bought and forgot about?
Oh, absolutely. And that's just fucking awesome. Like, oh, good. I found this. I forgot I had that. I'll save it for maybe this occasion or something. Or I'll start looking for someone who can trade, who might want it, and, do it that way.
Yeah, I do that all the time. And I don't know if that's a bad sign or not when you buy so much shit. But I've gone as far as like buying something again and then getting it in and then realizing, shit, I already have this.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, Okay. And you come across it like a couple weeks later, and you're just like, oh, I forgot I had this. All right,
Yep.
well, I got two now. You know. Axel says I dropped $80 on that Second Sight Martin Blu-ray. I had to look away as the payment process. But thank goodness for the people who sell for affordable prices. Yeah, that Martin Second Sight. If you got the box set, it was pretty pricey. But again, like Will was, he showed me, he sent me a picture the other day. He has the Lionsgate Martin on DVD that came. He's like, well, I still have this. I'm like, well, actually, that's the most recent version of that movie to come out in the US is that DVD version. We haven't gotten
Yep.
anything else since. So you're, it's 20 years old, but you're up to date on it actually. Matt says I've been collecting Pittsburgh postcards lately, particular Fort Pitt. That's awesome. That's another.
Nice.
That's something I don't think I have anything collectible from. Is Fort Pitt Boulevard, the 247 Fort Pitt. I'll find something from there. Or,
And those are readily available, I think, on eBay. Lots of stuff like that.
That's one. Yeah, that's something I need to look into. I haven't really thought about it. Like that's the thing. I'm fascinated. Like how you just think of this shit. Like, oh, I'm gonna like even if you're looking on eBay, like the little cheese wheel or something. Do you just go on eBay and you put in the name of the product and see if something pops
I did,
up?
yeah. I was watching the movie. I'm like, oh, cool. That's Jarlsberg. Okay, I've heard of that brand. I like cheese because I'm from Wisconsin. And let's just see what comes up. I'm like, oh, there's this cool little Jarlsberg keychain with that logo. Well, buy it now. Done. What the hell? What's $5 more?
Because I get a little lazy sometimes on eBay, and I'll just type in, or I'll just go to my usual searches. It's usually like George Romero or Dawn of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead or whatever. And that stuff's not going to pop up in those searches a lot of the time because a lot of the times those people that are selling that stuff don't really know the connection between the item and the movie. So
exactly, yeah.
So yeah, you kind of really got to go. You got to really look into it. So I respect the hell out of that. Fort Pitt Bridge and Boulevard. Okay. Since I remember Wix from the credits. Let's see. Since knows, yeah, Jarlsberg is a nice type of Swiss-like cheese. So since familiar
it's
with
very soft.
Let's see. Wix in the hotel vicinity. That's
right.
Yeah,
it was like right across the street, I think, by like the Expo Mart or something.
Yeah. 1986, I tried to use a game construction set on a friend's Atari 1200 to build Dawn and Scarface games based on storyboards I made. Set was too primitive, gave up. Yeah, I bet in 86 that would have been pretty hard to pull off. But I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of the like fan-made mods that have come out for, they do like the Dawn of the Dead mall and stuff like that. And I think some of them are used for, I think I've seen one for that Land of the Dead game that came out on PC back in the day.
Yeah.
There was a mod.
That's really impressive too.
Yeah. I'm just like, put that out, make it available.
Yeah.
Like, I'll buy it. Shit. Any price. All right. Well, what do we got next?
Moving. Oh, I will do this. So this in this tube, was given out by the Monroeville. Give me 1 second. The what is it? The Rotary Club, the Monroeville Rotary Club. This is one of those old, I guess you call it cartoon maps of Monroeville, and there's a puzzle in here, and I don't know how many pieces, 1,000 pieces, let's say, but you put it together and it makes this awesome old school Monroeville, PA map from 1987, and it's got a bunch of locations that are no longer there. Of course, the mall, as you can see, is right there. But yeah, this is really cool to find. I got a couple of these, and I donated one to the Monroeville Historical Society. And it was really cool to have that. Jason Beam, who runs it, he lives in the Creep Show house. I had this framed at one point, but again, just space-wise, I kind of took it down. But yeah, this is awesome to have. I love posters like that too. I have a couple of them from the Milwaukee area. So that was really cool. And that actually segues into the next item, which is a piece of wood. This is from the original Creep Show door in the house that is screen used from that when the house was built. You can see it in the movie. Number 4 of 26. Jason Beam gave this to me and his own little certificate of authenticity. for that poster, and that was really cool to meet him during Living Dead weekend last year and chat with him a little bit about the airport. It had just been torn down, so we chatted about that, and he was very grateful for the poster and stuff. And the guy could not have been nicer. So very cool to get that.
So he owns the Creepshow house then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
He always puts the trash can out and stuff, and people sign that.
Okay, yeah. I've talked about that before. I think I've just been curious who does own it. I knew it was somebody that had an affinity for those movies and knew of them and was cool enough to do shit like that. But I never knew the name. So what's his name again? Give him another shout out here.
Jason Beam.
Jason Beam. Okay. I don't know if
he's commented a few times. I know he's all over the airport situation. Knew when that was going down and keeping people updated on that. I think he was the first one to post when it had been demolished.
Okay. So I remember that for sure. Because I've always wondered. Because I'm like, whoever bought this house is cool as shit for doing this. Like I remember the first time I pulled up, I was just like, I'm gonna see the house, and I'll just pull up and be inconspicuous about it, and I just want to see the house. Then you pull up, and I noticed the jack-o'-lantern in the window, and I was just like, holy shit, these people are fucking cool. And then I noticed the trash can and the log, So I was like, wow, I wonder who bought this. It has to be a fan.
Yeah.
But okay. You want to keep going?
Yeah. I think we'll move on. I'll grab the phone and I'll head over to the cabinet.
All right. While he's doing that, I agree, Matt. We all need to do a video of our black market collectibles from the airport. I agree.
Absolutely.
That'd be the most illegal stream ever, bro. Loving that Creepshow door piece as well. That is pretty fucking awesome. Sean said that map looks awesome. I wonder if the holiday house is on that. Many big celebs are passed up through there.
Okay, we're good to go. Okay,
the Creepshow house guy comment on all the people going to the airport and missing the Creepshow house until recent years.
Yeah. So right there. I don't know if you guys have seen these before, but this is a promotional poster of all the Dawn poster types you could get back in the day. I assume this would have been sent to promotional companies. The guy, was it Irving? I can't see it, but Irving Shapiro, whose name is in the credits for advertisements and stuff. He would have probably distributed these to different companies. So that was really cool to get that years ago. When of course the posters were dirt cheap. And then moving on, we have this French poster. It's not too big, but about, I'd say, I don't know, whatever you guys think that is. It's fairly small, but I know it's an original from, I think, 79 or 80. And then we'll move on to this. So in 2022, when Tony Todd was at Living Dead weekend, I wanted to have him sign this from his role in The Rock with Nicolas Cage. And of course, he put his line on there, "I don't like soft ass shit," because Nicolas Cage asked him if he likes the Elton John song Rocket Man. And that was his response. So he got a kick out of that. And I'm like, when am I going to meet Tony Todd again? I'm going to have him sign something cool and unique that's not Candyman or Night of Living Dead, So that was awesome. Let's see. And we have a signed Night of Living Dead 68 laser disc. I just got that this year at Living Dead weekend. My collection of movie and TV show cars, of course. This is really cool to get a Tonka Penny's truck. I believe that's from the 60s or 70s, but I found that at a little antique store up north in Minocqua, Wisconsin. And of course, I saw that logo. I'm like, well, it's vintage Dawn era Pennies, so had to pick that up. And moving on, well, this is really cool. You guys can see that. This is a etched glass with the Goblin logo. I've had that for 15 years. A guy who does tattoos does etched glasses, and he actually custom built that for me years ago. So that was really, really cool to have. And moving along, we got some more signed stuff. Knight Rider's lobby card, Savini. Another one, Werner Schuck. and Christine Forrest. And of course, that's awesome. My Italian Vampire poster, signed by Savini, John Amplis, Chris Romero. And I like that version. I think it's a great movie. And of course, Goblin kicks ass on that soundtrack. Then we have the signed Dawn poster. Of course, that's one of the coolest things ever. The original poster book. So then moving down here, we got, see, Day of the Dead DVD signed by Pilato, Nicotero, and Berger. That was the first one I got in 2003, so that's super sentimental. And then these two, it's just the generic DVDs, but those are sentimental because I got both of those from the Monroeville half-price books. So I want to keep, like, stuff like that. I like to keep it, what's the word, like, make it as sentimental as possible, even though it's just a generic DVD. It's where I got it. It's, you know, part of that history with Monroeville and where the movies are filmed, you know, Pittsburgh area. And this is awesome because, yeah, that's signed by Nicotero, Berger, and I had Matt Blasi sign it. I think that's his signature right there. So that was really cool. And then, yeah, various CDs. There it is, the first one I ever bought. A couple sealed copies of Dawn. That is my sealed tall box from Sam's Club back in, I think, 2004. They sold those big ones. And of course, Tom Atkins. Stop it. Had to get that. Okay. Moving on to the case. We, of course, have this. That thing is so awesome. The PlayStation game. Did a video of that back in December. Unbelievable to have that. Yeah, various Blu-rays and DVDs, stuff I've had forever, some stuff I got the last couple of years. Of course, Second Sight, the masterpiece. And of course, here we have Keys to the Kingdom. Just made that with a bunch of keys from Home Depot, just blanks, and then the giant key ring from that was from Amazon. So pretty awesome. Of course, the blood vial purchased from Jeannie Jeffries, who preserved all that. And we'll open it up. And of course, all the goodies. Just scan down a little bit. Michael, if you want to tune in anytime and have questions, just let me know.
Yeah, I'm just kind of letting you roll here. I'm writing down shit as we're going. To ask you about, but I didn't want to break your concentration. But let me full screen this again real quick, and you can tell the story about this.
Okay, so yeah, I wanted to have something unique that Tom Atkins could sign, and you know, his line at the end of the movie, his goddamn stiff neck, I can barely move, and his wife said, "Well, you poor old bear, you want me to get the Bengay?" No. And of course, time for another shot, Dad. So yeah, I had him sign this period correct Bengay box from, I believe, 1980 or 81. And he got a big kick out of that. I thought it was hilarious. Like, such a unique thing for him to sign. Only certain people are going to get it, what it's from. I think it is absolutely hilarious. Just like the I don't like soft ass shit, you know, from Tony Todd. This is the same kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know, I'm all about that cool, unique stuff. Like, there's of course, the blood pressure cuff signed by Tony Booba, and put the 000 over 000.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one thing I wrote down when you were telling the Tony Todd story, is that I got to commend you on, is your creativity with this shit of coming up with different items and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and putting it together, like shit that I wouldn't even think of, just to be like the Bengay thing. Just have Tom Atkins sign a empty box of Bengay, period correct, you know, from the year that the movie was made. Like, that's I respect that. I think that's really freaking cool, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I really wanted to make sure it was like as unique as possible. It wasn't just. I mean, I got a 8.5 by 11 photo signed of him, and there's all like posters and stuff, and he's been in hundreds of movies. But I wanted to have that unique, just absolutely kind of off the wall item. People are gonna get a kick out of that. So that was pretty awesome.
Let's see. Trying to figure out a different setup on that, but that gun though, is that a?
Yeah, this is
actual...
well, it's not real, but it was on Amazon. Of course, it looks fucking real. Like it feels.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Same size and everything. Pivotal scene in the movie. We all know it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is cool to have just because it's from that scene in the movie, and it's small enough and can just fit right there in the collection.
Yeah, it looks awesome. What about the Scirocco back there?
Oh, I actually have.
How much Scirocco stuff do you have?
Well, besides the B&P or the Ted McWilliams patch, because that's where they got the car from. I actually have about 3 different Volkswagen Scirocco's, and this is the only one with the back opens up, just like in the movie.
That's awesome.
It's 143 scale, so not too big, but I think this is like a 74 or 75 model, but obviously it, looks exactly the same as the one in the movie. So
yeah.
And that's still my dream car, just because it was the one from Dawn of the Dead. I love that scene with the music and everything. It's so perfect.
I'll keep an eye out for it. If I ever come across a 78 Volkswagen Scirocco, I'll give you a call.
Oh, thanks, man. Proverbially running, of course. I just gotta learn how to drive.
I can't promise that. I mean,
yeah.
Very, very cool. The Penny's truck was pretty cool. I don't think I've seen that before.
That's the only one I've ever seen of that at that one antique store.
And you just found that out in the wild?
Yeah, it was in the wild. Yeah, for I think it was like $40. It's in like pretty crappy condition, but
yeah, I wouldn't. I'd pay it easily.
Yeah.
That. Here in Evansville, I went to a flea market and came across a whole bunch of Iron City beer cans. I was just like, really? Like you're in Evansville? That's random.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, I'll buy them all. Okay. I just went up to the counter with like an armful of old beer cans, and they just looked at me like, what is wrong with you?
Give me all of your Iron City.
Yeah, it's just like, you have any more of this? Yeah, the Vampire. That was another thing that caught my attention. That's really cool to have. You said you got Savini to sign it?
Yeah, Savini, Christine Forrest, and John Amplis. And it's cool because it's got the original like Italian like theater writing on top of it too. Yeah. So that's freaking awesome.
What were their thoughts? Had they seen that version before? Or
I don't think they have. I think Christine said she'd never seen it before, and she was kind of confused, like, what is this? It looks like John Amplis and Zombie on it. Like, oh yeah, this is the Italian version of Martin. Oh, I never knew that. I'm like, well, you were kind of in the movie,
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't feel like a lot of people, and I was talking. Who was I talking about this with? I think I was talking to Larry about it because I think Larry had just watched it all the way, like really watched it, and he was talking. He messaged me about it. And we were talking about it, and I'm just curious to know how that deal came about. Like, was that part of the Dawn deal between Richard and the Italians, or?
Yeah, because at the time, I think Dario was visiting Pittsburgh, and they were finalizing everything for Dawn. It might have been like Dario's. I hope I'm not speaking out of my ass right now, but I think Dario and Romero were just finalizing the whole deal with distribution, and Romero or Rubenstein, of course. And Suspiria had just come out, so Argento wanted to have full rights to releasing Dawn of the Dead over there, and editing and everything and distribution. So he's like, we'll take care of Vampire as well, or Martin, I mean. So yeah, I think that was a package deal. I really do.
It had to have been. It had to be something along those lines. But I'm just interested. I just think it's a little weird that they edited it the way they did, and they kind of changed like the dialogue in. It's completely different to where it's like they do kind of just say that Martin is an actual vampire and all that.
Right. Yeah.
I remember always hearing Argento liked George's version of Martin. Maybe he just felt like it wouldn't play the same in Italy, but I don't know.
Well, and also he wanted to get like Goblin to do, the soundtrack, as they were like, hand in hand at the time.
Yeah, that's a good point too. That gas mask is pretty freaking awesome. I've
Oh
always
man,
wanted
that's
one of
awesome.
those.
That was a cool find.
I know
Yeah, again,
Landrum
once
has
you
one of those
find
too.
what the serial number was with that or what kind it was, it's like a World War II Mark IV Navy gas mask or something.
Hmm.
Then you can find them on eBay pretty easily, and it came with a bag and everything. And Matt Landrum actually has it signed by Roger
Yeah.
and Ken, which is freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's a pretty badass thing to get signed by those
Yeah,
guys. So you got the walkie-talkie back there.
of course we got the drum.
Oh yeah, the water drum.
Yeah, $10 at an estate sale. That was freaking awesome.
God, that's crazy. Because I see because I look at those the civil defense drums all the time on eBay, and people are selling those. I
Yeah,
mean,
like the cardboard ones too.
yeah, it's like they're like $100, but then they're also another $100 to ship. So it's
Oh, I
just
know
like,
because they're so
yeah,
huge. Yeah.
yeah. Which there was a guy selling one in Hershey, Pennsylvania. So I thought about maybe driving there one day next time I'm in Pittsburgh to pick it up. But Hershey's still like a 4-hour drive from Pittsburgh, I think, something like
Yeah,
that. 3 or 4 hours. Got the canceled checks there.
of course. Yeah, that was definitely one of the. I mean, it's one of those things like houses burning down. That's one of the things I'm grabbing.
Yeah, I'm gonna full screen that here real quick. Talk
Okay.
about that.
Yeah, these are freaking awesome to get.
That's
Yeah, the
awesome,
first one
man.
on
Well,
top is Tri-State Parking was the first one I ever got back in 2020, and it actually cost me a lot of money. And one of those because I had like a couple of them at the time, and I'm like, I'll trade you this box set for this check and plus some cash, and he was more than happy to do it. So um,
yeah.
that was freaking awesome. This one for Bella, Pennsylvania was somebody in England was selling that, and that was really cool. That came with a signed, uh, not an authenticity, but it's just a signed card by Tom Savini. So that was pretty interesting.
Hmm.
And then this one is just freaking awesome because that is somebody directly identifiable from the film, and that is he rode a sidecar motorcycle that's always on
That's right,
display.
John Hilbeck. I was trying to
So I
make
have
out
his
what that
paycheck.
said. That's really freaking cool.
Yeah.
Holy shit. What'd you pay for that one?
That was $150 from Cinema Wasteland on their
Wow.
website. I couldn't believe that it was just live, like on their site. I bought it and then I messaged the guy like, "Hey, is this legit? I just bought it." "Yeah, it's for real. We'll send you authenticity and everything." And I'm like, "All right, well, that's awesome. Thank you very much."
That is freaking amazing.
Couldn't
I don't
believe it.
see those. I see Russo sells a lot of those penciled checks, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how many he has left. He doesn't have any Dawn ones, but
Yeah.
just regular ones. He's got quite a few of. But I never met George. I never got anything signed by him.
Oh wow. I didn't
So
know that.
having these
I don't know if
checks was
have
like,
we talked about that before? That
yeah,
you never got
yeah,
a chance to meet George?
one of my all-time regrets, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
having
I only did
these
once.
signed by him for like the Dawn for production of Dawn of the Dead, like that's just having his name on them, and he hand signed them. That's just
Yeah.
cool to have. It's more
It'd have been
personable that way, I
it'd have
think.
been
And just,
great. It'd have been awesome if he signed it "Stay Scared," George
I
Romero.
know, right?
Like even back then, he was just like, "I'm doing this. Fuck it."
Yeah, they'll be worth something someday.
Yeah,
So,
that's pretty freaking awesome. Yeah, that's yeah. That would definitely be fire. House on Fire. Grab the one thing that probably be right up there.
absolutely. So you got some Goblin signed records. This is the first thing, really the first thing I ever got signed or brought from my collection was this the original 1978 Cinevox Italian pressing of Zombie, which I'm like all four of them signed it,
That's
and
awesome.
10-4A. That was a flashback weekend in 2012, and yeah, all of them signed it. I mean, obviously, Massimo Moranti is no longer with us, so
Mhm.
it's much more personable. But the album that changed my life became the musician I am today. So fucking awesome.
It is great. And if you haven't checked out Paul's YouTube channel, he does a lot of Goblin Dawn of the Dead covers on there. It's pretty.
Oh
That's
yeah,
how I
there's
first, when I first
the
discovered
workshop
your
right
shit.
there.
I was like, Jesus, is that George Romero? Because you were
Yeah,
in the
thank you very
scarf and
much.
everything, and I was like, I was looking at it on my phone, and it was like at a glare, and I was just like, it took me back for a second. I was like, how have I never seen this? And I was like, oh wait a minute, that's not George, that's Paul.
Oh yeah, freaking awesome.
No,
Yeah, I can't believe you've never seen them, man. They're so awesome live.
yeah, like I said, it's just it's always just like I don't know. I talk myself out of shit like that, like spending money to travel and go to college. Like, oh, I got to work in the morning. I got to do this. Got to do that. Pretty Stroh's beer. I've seen a couple of Stroh's beers thing. Are you a big Stroh's guy?
Well, part of my collecting is I collect beer signs too, and that's
I
a
did
story
for
for
a
another
minute.
day. But I've collected a lot of beer signs and vintage stuff over the years.
Yeah,
And
I was a big anything beer related. You know, not like I don't know if I may have bought something, but you know, nothing something weird and old, like a you know, like it's I don't know what all I used to have. I had a lot of Guinness stuff. I'm a big Guinness guy. Like some of the old Guinness advertisements and stuff like that. Old cigarette, like those
like metal signs or something.
yeah, the metal camel signs, and it's always got like a fucking manly man with a giant mustache smoking a cigarette, and he's like carrying a tire or something like
Yeah.
that. It's like I love shit like that. It's just so out there.
Yeah, and my beer collecting stuff has always been kind of like not really hand in hand with Dawn of the Dead stuff, but my wife and I will go to estate sales and antique stores and stuff like that. And on the other side of the basement, we have tons of beer signs and a couple of old Hams ones from like the '60s.
Oh wow.
3 or 4 neon signs. Yeah, another story for another day. But yeah, that can be a very expensive hobby compared to like collecting movie stuff, like
Yeah.
vintage beer signs, lighted signs. Holy shit, there's some cool ones out there.
I saw it was a neon Iron City sign that it was at a bar in Pittsburgh. I was thinking about asking like, "Hey, how much how much would it take for me to take that off your hands?" But I didn't. But it was pretty freaking cool. I would put that in my fucking window upstairs.
Oh hell
Just
yeah!
in the fucking neighborhood, people driving by and it looks like a bar upstairs. I'm like, yeah, bar for what?
2 years ago, we were up north with my wife's parents, and there was this bar that had thousands of beer signs, lighted signs, neon signs. Like every single piece of the wall was covered with beer signs. And they had an Iron City one. It was probably like, I swear, 18 inches long and by like 3 inches high. It wasn't big. And I'm like, holy fuck, it's an Iron City vintage sign with that logo on it. And I asked him, like, I gotta have that. What's the price? And he wouldn't sell it. None of them was for
Wow.
sale. And I'm like, you don't see Iron
It's
City
gotta be
like
right.
vintage stuff like ever. So
Yeah. And was this in Pittsburgh? Did you say?
no, it was up north Wisconsin.
Okay, so yeah,
And
you like out in the
Great
wild,
Lakes.
like outside of Pittsburgh for sure. Like
Yeah,
so that would be yeah. Like I said with those beer cans, I was just like Evansville. I'll take them all. Thank you. That's one thing
yeah, right.
That's one thing I would like to do one time while I'm up in Pittsburgh. Actually, is go to some flea markets and stuff and see what local stuff that you could like old local stuff that you could find from that time period. Like
Right, exactly. Yeah, or antique
yeah,
stores or something.
yeah, that's something I haven't done yet. But you mentioned half price books. Like I did the same thing. I went to half price books for the first time here last trip to Pittsburgh for Living Dead weekend.
It's a
I went
good
to
one too. It's
yeah.
really good.
Oh, the one I remember where the one was we went to. I didn't go to the one in Monroeville.
Really? Oh, it's right up from the mall. You can't
Yeah,
miss it.
I know. I can't remember where the one I went to, but I do the same thing. I ended up buying like Night of the Living Dead 3D or something there because I didn't have it and it was just something to have, you know. So and I just keep the price sticker on there. And I bought it just for the sentiment, like just buying it in Pittsburgh type of thing. It's like, oh, I gotta buy something from here, you know.
Right.
Since as that Dawn poster promo collage must be quite rare.
I I think it is. I've seen a couple of them on eBay over the past year since I bought mine. So they're not super duper rare, but rare enough where
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't just go on eBay and find one.
I've seen a couple. I've seen a couple over the past couple of years. They go for pretty good money though.
Yeah,
So if you want to,
I don't
yeah,
remember how much I paid for mine, but
yeah, since they'd have Tony Todd sign something from Star Trek: The Next Generation, since he was a cool Klingon. Are you a Star Trek guy at all?
a little bit. No, I mean here and there, but not super into it.
Yeah, I never even got into Star Wars. Like when I was a kid, like Star Wars really never did anything for me either. I just
I like Star Wars, but for me, it was everything. When I think of Star Wars, I'm like Shadows of the Empire on Nintendo 64. That game is so fucking good. That's like my go-to.
yeah,
I
good
compare
game. Yeah.
everything to like that game. I'm like, oh, I wonder if they'll do anything from Shadows of the Empire with Dash Rendar. I thought that was such a cool like subplot of Star Wars. So, in the game, yeah, it's just fucking awesome. Because I love N64. So,
Yeah, I remember they had that Star Wars game. It was like an arcade game. I can't remember what it was. We used to play the shit out of it. I can't remember what the hell it was
oh,
called.
was that one of those huge ones where you sit inside of
Yeah,
it?
yeah, the big,
Yeah, I remember
yeah.
those. Those are
You know,
crazy. Yeah.
oh, they used to have it at the Pirates Cove in Madisonville, Kentucky. We'd spend a whole lot of time and money in there. Um, Shit, I lost where I was. I think it was at Sean, maybe. So the Equibank thing is awesome. I remember standing in those ropes, waiting in line with my mom pre ATM. So you actually stood in line that
Yeah.
yeah, Peter and Flyboy go right to
Money,
the front
money,
of the line.
money.
That's pretty awesome. Since my brother's high school girlfriend had a Scirocco, but it was an '85.
Awesome.
I knew a guy that his dad, when he was growing up, his dad sold meth out of a Scirocco. So
You can't make something like that up.
no, I mean that's
Oh
true.
my god.
He played in a band at the time called Whiskey Angel, and he wrote a song called Scirocco, and it was all about how his dad would sell meth out of the back of a Scirocco growing up.
Nice.
It's a killer song too.
Well, you got
Um,
the hatchback. That's perfect. Just open up shop. There you go.
yeah, there you go. Since as the vampire or vampire, however you want to say it, edit changes ruined the tension of the opening scene. George's great work. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think George's version is better, of course, but
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
there's just something about that vampire that's just kind of like. Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, it's the Goblin soundtrack. I mean,
Yeah,
this is
that
such a
just it really that
love that
changes
fucking
everything.
soundtrack.
Yeah. And the
Yeah,
editing too, yeah, was different, but it just added a certain charm to it.
it,
Not like the Argento cut of Dawn of the Dead. Just how Italians do things. I
yeah, the
think
way
that's
that
what it
they
was.
pace things out, plan
Yeah.
things out. I like how they used the same scene twice at that one time, where they just reversed it, so it's just backwards.
Yeah. They'll never know.
Yeah, they'll never fucking get it. They'll
Ah,
never
fuck
understand.
you. Get
Stupid
out of my
people.
face.
It all looks the same. Rich T says the art on the poster for the official poster book is great. Yeah. What's the name of the guy that did that artwork for the poster book? Not Bob Michelucci, but the actual
Um,
poster. I can't think of that guy's name. I've heard it a billion times.
it's on the poster too. He signed it at the bottom. You
Yeah,
mean the fold out, the whole
yeah,
thing?
yeah. The big,
I don't know. I don't know his name offhand, but yeah,
yeah,
Bob Michelucci did like the layout of
yeah.
all the paragraphs and stuff like that.
Let's see. Matt says he missed out on meeting George too. Having an autographed 8x10 that I've had since I was a kid, but never got a chance to meet him in person. Big regret, along with Angus Scrim from Phantasm. Yeah, I never met Angus Scrim either. Um, but yeah, I was glad that I because I just said at one point 2008 I was just like fuck it, like I'm 18 now, like, or 19 at the time, and I was just like, hey man, George is going to be in Dallas, Texas for this thing, and everybody else is going to be there too. It's the 40th anniversary of Dawn of the Dead. Fuck it, let's go. And we just took a road trip, and yeah, that was
Yeah.
awesome. Never met him again. Never met him again since then, but I'm glad I had that chance to meet him that one time. And yeah, again, I mean, you've heard everybody say, oh, I met George and he was just the nicest guy and just so gracious and all this stuff. And it's like,
He
it
really was.
really was,
Yeah.
really was. It's like, because I remember my dad, being like, when I told him we were going to go there, he was like, well, what if you get there and he's just like this crotchety old bastard? Like, it would just break your heart. And I was like, yeah, it would, wouldn't it? Like, I was kind of thinking, I was like, but there's no way. Like, I know a lot about him. I've seen him in a lot of interviews and stuff. So I think it'd be cool. And then I get up there, I'm nervous. I'm like, oh man, I hope he's not, I hope he doesn't say the wrong thing or just I take something the wrong way type of thing. But it was just like the most perfect experience it because I went up and just started fanning out, nerd, like a complete nerd, just like, oh, I'm your biggest fan. And he was just like, oh, wow, it's so great to meet you. What's your name? And he, leaning in, just like, oh, wow, it's so great to finally meet you. I've always wanted to meet my biggest fan. And I was just like, oh, okay, he's being funny about it. Okay, yeah, it was kind of stupid to say, but he took pictures and shit like that. And that was back when you could take a photo with a celebrity and
it cost like nothing.
Yeah, get as much shit as you wanted autographed, and it was like $20 or something like that. Now it's like, yeah, you better start saving now.
Yeah.
Jesus. So it says Goblin's first tour in 2013 was amazing, and the guy signed my portable synth for free. Yeah, I think I've heard you talk about that. That's pretty
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sean says my prized possession of my Zombie Jamboree 25th anniversary program, signed by Romero in the casting night of Living Dead.
That is fucking awesome. Yeah.
That is really cool. Yeah, he Cliff Forrest owns Iron City Beer now, Pittsburgh Brewing Company. Yeah, George's son Drew actually works for them. Last I heard, he works at the Iron City factory. Actually, I'm creeping on George's family. I'm friends with him on Facebook actually, so I see he posts stuff from there all the time. It's been a while, but best part, all the autographs for free. Yeah, back at and they had who else? Zombie Jamboree. That Kane Hodder was there, Adam West was there, just all this random assortment of people. Of course, George showed up and was there, and that'd have been a great convention to go to. Since there's some locals I talked to at Monroeville Mall kept calling the beer Iron Shitty. I thought it was fine though. I mean, it's not. I'm sure if you grew up in that area and you were just surrounded by it at all times, because I mean, Iron City is everywhere in Pittsburgh. I mean, there's a giant billboard, in fucking downtown that says Iron City Beer. So I guess if you are local, you're probably sick of it. But at this point, but for me, if it's a once a year type of thing that I get to experience, so I'm just like, yeah, that's all I'm drinking.
Exactly, me too.
Let's see. Since says best Star Wars games for Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy. Force choke and push while throwing a lightsaber at a room of stormtroopers. Body dismemberment turned on too. Let's see. Brandon Salisbury, what's up, man? Hey everyone, good to see the bearded face of Paul. It's good to see your bearded face as well, Brandon. Of course,
you too, my friend.
Of course, you guys know Brandon. He's got the George A. Romero's Resident Evil documentary coming out soon that I'm so
can't wait for that.
To see. Yeah, because that was my introduction to George, was the Resident Evil games. Like when I first saw Resident Evil 2 as a kid, I didn't see 1, but when my uncle popped in part 2 and I started watching him play that, and I was just like, this is fucking awesome. Like, what are these things? And he's like, oh, they're zombies. I'm like,
yeah, for me, it wasn't so much the first one, which I did play, but the second one, like, was just fucking awesome on PlayStation. That whole introduction, and then playing the game. Oh my god,
that game was so like good. To me, that was like the Terminator 2 or the of video games for me at that point. Like that was the first time I was seeing like, wow, this is possible with a game. Like you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so the George doing that at the time, like when I heard that, because when I started getting into George, because I was and I was like, it's perfect. It's going to be perfect. And we got what we got. And it was, far from perfect. So I'm really interested in seeing that documentary soon.
Yeah, that's going to be so fucking good. I cannot wait for that. Brandon, you did a good job. We're really looking forward to it, man. Can't wait.
Yes, sir. Saying hi to Matt in the chat as well. Brandon's also saying Paul's a great choice for a guest. Such an awesome guy. Funny story. I once bought Paul a shirt at JCPenney so he could have the receipt. Shipped it to him. That was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yep. I should have brought that down too. I have that, and I have the receipt. Still, I made a photocopy of it too. It's just because I wanted receipts that says both JCPenney and Monroeville Mall, like from the movie. So that's awesome.
And that was
he went out of his way to do that. That was so fucking cool of him.
That is really cool. Was that before you had made the trip to the mall for the first time, or?
No, that was 2021. The year I couldn't go to Living Dead weekend.
That was my first year of actually going to the mall in Pittsburgh for the first time, 2021. So did you just miss out that year?
Well, it was the 4th, and I had family stuff.
Like the only thing I want out of this is a receipt from JCPenney's. By God.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Again, it goes to your creativity. The creativity of your collection is is what's most impressive to me.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
I get a
again, it
kick out of
goes like it goes above and beyond that. Like one of my coffee mugs, the black one with the Dawn of the Dead logo, that was for my first trip to the
it.
mall back in 2018. And there was a store in the mall at the time called like Cash and Culture, which was a retro store. They sold like video games and action figures and stuff like that. And they had a little section Dawn of the Dead stuff. So then I bought the mug. So then I have a receipt that says Dawn of the Dead and Monroeville Mall. So that's even like more cool. Like, holy shit.
You're playing the word game. Like, I get these words in together as closely as I can.
Exactly. To the movie. Like I was there,
That's awesome.
in another lifetime. But
Sean says the Zombie Jamboree documentary is on Tubi. Yeah, it's on Tubi. It's also on the Alfa Romero channel on YouTube.
I've heard of that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been doing some kick-ass things over there.
Yeah, he does, things every now and then. He'll pop up every now and then, just start.
I mean, he needs to cool it on his Tony Booba stuff a little bit. No, I'm just kidding.
Are you kidding?
I'm kidding, ass. I'm kidding.
Oh man,
Tony Booba's fucking awesome.
I love Tony. I'm such a big fan. I finally was able to show Will Lightning Over Braddock when we were in Pittsburgh.
It's fucking great. It's so good.
It's so funny, but like it blurs the lines of like what's reality and what's not, because he goes from like he's at a protest or something, but then like here comes,
and then there's a Sweet Sal stuff.
Sweet Sal just walking in. You're just like, wait, what's going on here?
Who is this guy?
Have you seen like any of his shorts, like the Sweet Sal short or the J. Roy short? Like,
are they on the DVD or I just have the DVD of it. Lightning Over Braddock.
They're on that Kino Blu-ray, I know for sure, because that's where I first saw them all. But they're like 10, 15. I think Sweet Sal's like 25 minutes, but the J. Roy stuff's like 10, 15 minutes, something like that. It's so entertaining. It's like what was I was watching the J. Roy one again the other night. It reminds me of like the Christopher Guest mockumentaries or whatever, like Spinal Tap. Like this is Spinal Tap, where it's like you got these characters saying these things that they mean and they're true to it, but then like it's hilarious to an outsider. You're just like, what? It's like there's a guy there that's like trying to sell people on crystal, and he'll just be like, this is how you can tell it's a good piece of crystal, and he holds it up and he just starts ding 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 ding, and he's just standing there and he's just staring at the camera, just hitting this piece of crystal, and he's serious. But as I'm watching it, I'm fucking cracking up laughing, because I'm just like, he's like a character from fucking Waiting for Guffman or something,
Well, you said it's like Spinal Tap, but it's Braddock.
Yeah. It's its own little world there.
Exactly.
Brian says, while I saw Romero films as a kid, it was Resident Evil 2 that reintroduced me to his films. Yeah. Like that was, like I said, that was like my Terminator. Like when I first saw Terminator 2 as like a little kid, I was just like, wow, my world has changed type of thing. So that was like the game for me. Resident Evil 1 had the best soundtracks, said Synth. I agree. The soundtracks for those games are awesome. I used to use a lot of when I would make my little movies back in the day. The mellow tones when you go in to save at a typewriter in those little rooms, it's like your moment of peace, because the rest of the soundtrack is so tense and just,
oh my fuck, dude. Yeah, the suspense factor of Resident Evil, those games like that. I had to put the game on mute because I didn't like when the hands would burst through the wall when you're going through those corridors in the police station. Holy
the
fuck,
Resident Evil, when the fucking dogs jump through the windows for the first time.
Oh my god, forget it. Yeah,
my cousin, I remember playing that as a kid. My cousin, and as soon as those dogs jumped out, he had to pause the game, run to the bathroom because he just shit his pants. Like it was that scary to us as a kid. We were playing at night, wind lights off and stuff, and he was just like,
the way you should, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I was just like, this game's awesome. Brent says, Paul made me a Romero scarf. Yeah, you mentioned that the other night, the Romero scarf. So do you make those?
Well, what happened was when I was searching for the Romero scarf,
the crochet kit,
yeah, you got me. That's what I'm doing in my spare time. I'm bootlegging Romero scarves for all the world to have. No, I was. I
mean, if you are, that's pretty fucking awesome. You should just.
Oh, I would if I had the steady, nimble fingers to do that.
Yeah. Get a table at Living Dead weekend. Just sell those. Shit, I'll buy one. There are people that'll buy them.
Yes. Oh man, that'd be fucking awesome. No, but what happened was when I was looking for the scarf back in 2020, when my Dawn obsession was like at its peak, I think I ended up having like 5 different scarves of like the same kind of style. I'm like, okay, one of these has to be kind of close. Well, then I found the scarf that I was wore to Living Dead weekend every year, and it was up there. I walked past it. I had that, and then I had a couple other ones, and the one I gave to Brandon, and Chris McGibbon actually has the other one. It was way too long. You know, it was like 10 feet long, let's say, and it was like super wide. So I took it to an alterations place. She cut it in half lengthwise and sewed up the sides. So I ended up having 2 different scarves that are kind of a more manageable width.
Yeah.
And the one I gave to Brandon, it's close. It's got the same pattern and everything, but like where it's white or cream colored, it's like, I call it coffee brown, and it looks fucking awesome in my opinion. It looks more retro that way. And yeah, Brandon wears it all the time and stuff, and I love seeing that. It's just it's that Romero cosmic connection, you know. And that time wearing that scarf was like making his fucking like awesome movies, in my opinion anyway.
I mean, that was his lucky scarf. You see it.
It was, behind the scenes footage, and
that's how you know he has a cameo in Day of the Dead. Is you see the scarf
pushing that cart along. Yeah, you see it hanging off his hip. I'm like, yep.
I always think about like in Document of the Dead when they're filming Two Evil Eyes, and he's got the scarf hanging down.
Yeah,
he's got the clothespins on the scarf, and he's hitting that yo-yo and chewing that
nicotine substitute. Yes.
He's trying to quit
fucking
smoking.
Awesome.
I'm gonna need a scarf for that at some point because I need to quit smoking my damn self. Christine Romero told me, she looked me dead in the face. She was like, because we were talking about George and him getting sick and stuff, and she was like, I always told him he needed to quit smoking. He just never would. I was like, yeah, well, I can't say anything because I smoke too. And she just looked at me dead in the face, was just like, stop. And I was like, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Like, I'll stop. I was like, Christine Romero just told me to stop. I'll stop. But yeah, Brandon mentions he wore it during an interview on Residents of Evil to help him get through it because he got emotional.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. That's so good to hear. Yeah.
Let's see,
and I'm always on the lookout for another one. Just if anyone else wants one, I'm always looking out for another one. But absolutely, man.
Hey, let me know. I'll pay you.
I've told several people it's all about the right pattern, length, and color scheme. Once you find those, the dress steward style, man, you can find it. It's out there. And as far as I know, me and Larry are the only 2 people that have like that same exact one.
Of course, Larry has it.
Of course, yeah.
Larry's got everything. Let's see. Sean says, "Hi, my bad. I've watched the Booba stuff though." Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would assume you were fairly familiar with Booba being from Braddock. Tony B is a very talented and cool guy to me. Yeah, I mean,
he's so fucking awesome. Cool. Super nice guy.
Loves talking about it. I mean, he's still working on stuff. He's working currently. He mentioned he was working on a sequel to Lightning Over Braddock called Thunder Over Braddock.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And he's wanting to use. He said he's playing with AI. He's trying to recreate Sweet Sal's voice to kind of narrate the new one. And I was like, that would be, you take my money now. Like I'm such a mark for Sweet Sal. I think that guy's just a character. He's a character that like Al Pacino would win an Academy Award if he played that character. But Sweet Sal's just the real guy. That's just a guy. Like that's just
Al
how
Pacino.
He was. Yeah, did you see that?
Pacino that's setting the bar pretty high. But that's pretty awesome. I could absolutely see that though.
Oh, I love Pacino. That sales guy was too much. Good stuff. There we go. This is my favorite screen name in all of YouTube. Rick the North Going Llama. What's going on, man? Happy 4th of July to you, brother. Rick the North Going Llama. Big fan of that. And since we had a good Romero cosplay guy on my tour with Larry, glasses on. Yeah, did you see that guy?
Yes, that guy was. He had the modern Romero look, and he looked exactly like him. That was fucking awesome.
Because we were standing there talking to John Vulo, and we were just talking. It was like up on the second floor by the museum, and I saw him walking out of the corner of my eye, and just like with you, for a split second, I was like, George is here. And I was like, oh no, that's just a guy.
Just
But
a guy.
he was just, it
Yeah.
looked just like him. Like
I know that
was
was.
crazy.
I wish I would have met him and talked to him. We could have gotten like the 2 different eras of George, in one place.
That would be really cool. I wish I would have brought it down. I don't know if I showed you that. I brought or bought a print of sort from. It was the booth that was selling it was. I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head, but the booth that was selling it was Nightmare 1984, and he had like it was just a print, like a drawing illustration or whatever that I don't know the technical term for it that he did of George in all 3 decades when he was making.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yep.
Yeah, I was that caught my eye immediately, and he's a super cool guy too. Enjoyed talking to him. I keep hitting this mic, but yeah, got anything else you wanted to show or stories you wanted to tell?
No, that's about it. I mean, I could probably do another one of these in the future, but I think this was very like good, showing off like all the really unique stuff that I have like on display. A lot of the stuff I didn't have out is just kind of odds and ends stuff that really, I think everyone has it, so to speak, or it's just not.
Yeah,
whatever.
that was the interesting. Like that's why I was excited to bring you on, just to see all the random little bits and pieces that you've come across of just like the, if you know type of stuff. Like
Yeah.
I love
and of
seeing
course, and people that'll come over here that don't know jack shit about Romero or Dawn of the Dead, it's great conversation pieces. And I see them looking in the cabinet like, hey, Travis, what do you got? Any questions or anything? Like, what is all this stuff? And like, oh, well, let's enter that rabbit hole, shall we? So it's fucking cool. I love having conversation pieces like that. Like the civil defense drum, That's perfect.
One thing I forgot to ask you about when you were doing that little tour, though, is that Dawn of the Dead PlayStation game.
Yeah.
I think we may have touched on that last time, but it's basically, it is a game, but it's basically like you just watch the movie and there's like a...
Yeah, it's a learning tool to teach English to Japanese people. It is the extended cut, but it's missing a few scenes. It's over the course of 4 discs, so you have to change it after so many whatever scenes in it. And you can do like quizzes from the main menu. It's all in Japanese though, so it's kind of hard to navigate. But you can you can change the language, so you can see what questions you're asking. I'm thinking about doing a whole live video of like the game in its entirety at some point, because I have a Japanese PlayStation console.
Yeah, didn't you do a video or something?
I did, but it was just like certain clips here and there of like the subtitles or translations that were just hilarious.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Oh, it's my turn for the Coke. Yeah.
There were
like, hey, I want you to type that up. Hey, get Mark to type that up. I don't even know like how much of it's supposed to be accurate. So
the biker scene, there probably was an actual line that somebody used during the biker scene. It was like, "Hey, it's my turn with the Coke."
Yeah,
because I've heard some stories about some of those bikers sneaking off into the bathrooms of the Monroeville Mall and having their own little party. Yeah, before they hop on a motorcycle and roll through the mall.
Yeah, take out a plate glass window. Well, that was Savini, of course, but
yeah, that was Savini doing that one. Most of the damage done to the mall, I think, was Savini's fault. I think we'll just go ahead and say that.
I mean, and just again, the stories that him and Tasso must have from Dawn of the Dead and Night Riders, like holy fuck.
Yeah,
just party animals and just wreaking havoc. Like
that whole little group there. It was like Savini, Tasso, Bamba, John Harrison. Yeah, I mean, it was just
Marty Schiff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Marty Schiff, of course. Yeah,
man,
that's pretty funny. So I love the story. I saw something. I came across something that reminded me of this the other day. The Night Rider story from the hotel that they were all staying at. They would, Tasso would climb up to the marquee and take all the letters and rearrange them.
Yeah,
they would say, instead of saying like all you can eat buffet, it would say something like eat the dead or something. Just outrageous. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I love those stories of just picturing those guys for no other reason, just to entertain themselves, just scaling that sign and just coming how long did it take them to come up with these different phrases? Like you see the letters that you had available, and it's
right
like, okay,
to what they had to use.
Yeah, it's like I could make this word with this. It's just like it's insane. But I mean, Savini's pretty insane. I mean, I not even not in a bad way, but I mean, he's just like I've said before. Like if aliens landed on planet Earth and they were like, "Bring me your most interesting human," like Savini would probably be up there at the top. I would think. Like just he's such an interesting guy.
Yeah.
Uh, have, so your experiences with Savini at conventions, because that's always been a hot topic with a bunch of people.
Yeah, I don't think I've never had a problem with him. He's never been like an asshole to me or anything. He's just, he appreciates the fans, but it's also like he's all about business. Like,
Yeah,
you got
which is
stuff to
weird.
sign, I'll sign it, and then you give me the money,
Yeah, it's a very cold, like lifeless transaction. It seems at
Yeah.
times with him, it's just more like, okay, thanks. But like I've run into him a couple of times outside of the convention setting, and he couldn't be nicer. He's just like, oh hey, how you doing? Like, are you here for the show? It's like, yeah. It's like, oh man, okay, I'll see you there. But like as soon as he sits behind that table, and he's just like, I guess I don't know, maybe he just doesn't like sitting there.
Yeah, for
And
hours
just
on end. Yeah.
yeah, man, I don't know, maybe. Because I do see him getting up and mingling quite a bit. Like I've seen him, I think it was at Horror Hound one year. I saw him going over to the um, with the Lloyd Kaufman. What's his thing called? I can't remember.
Oh, a trauma.
Trauma. Yeah, he was at the trauma table, picking like buying shit and talking to people working there. So I think he's been doing it for so long too that it's just kind of like he's probably just tired of getting the same questions, and I don't know.
Do you remember when you were in Dawn of the Dead?
Hey, you remember that time you did the Friday the 13th? That was really
Was
cool.
that really you?
That was really cool. That was really cool. Sex Machine, what's up, man?
Oh my God, yes, of course. Was that gun for real?
Was that really your dick? No, that was a prop.
Speaking of which, I just watched a couple days ago Smoke and Mirrors for the first time.
Yeah. Did you pick up that Blu-ray for $2.99?
No, I just watched it on YouTube. It was like I think $3. So, but that was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, it's a good little documentary. I've been wanting to watch it again. I saw it when it first aired on Shudder, and I went back to watch it again here recently. I think it was when I was doing something on Tom Savini on the channel or something like that. I was trying to go back and rewatch it, just kind of refresh my memory, and it was gone. Like I was just like, well, shit, I don't have any other way to watch it. So I was luckily, happy to see that it came out on Blu-ray. And I ended up picking up the Blu-ray for like $20 at Living Dead Weekend from the Orbit DVD guys.
Oh yeah.
And then they just put it on sale all different places for $2.99. So I ended up buying it again. I was just like, $2.99, fuck it, I'll get another copy and give it to a friend or something like that. Shit, you can't be $2.99. Anything $2.99, like I'll buy it. Fuck it.
Yeah, physical media, right?
Yeah. So I got the. I will say I got it from that oldies.com. I'd never really heard of them before, but I was just like $2.99. If you rip me off for $2.99, like it is what it is. But I purchased it. I mean, it shipped super fast, got here super fast. I mean, the updates were constant. I mean, it packaged perfectly. I was just like, wow, I was blown away that, so for anybody out there, if you see anything for sale on oldies.com and you're a little timid because, they're not, Diabolic DVD or something like that, you can order with confidence. They did a fantastic job. I actually went on. I rarely give like reviews because I'm just like, what am I, a Yelp reviewer or something? But
right.
If they go out of their way and it's like, wow, okay, this is really cool.
Top-notch service.
You want to help them out, and they deserve it. So oldies.com. I don't know what else they sell. I've only bought that, but they did a good job.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. If it's still on sale, might have to pick that up too.
It may still be. I saw it was on sale for $2.99, a couple other spots too, but that's just where I got it because I think it was the first one that popped up. Since saying you have a very eclectic collection, really cool to see it. That's a good way to put it. It's a very eclectic collection, and that's why I was excited to have you because, like you said, there's a lot of stuff. Like I have a lot of stuff that a lot of people probably have. A lot of like licensed figures and stuff like that. But just the fact that you track down, these little like. It's like I said, if you know what it is, you know what it is. The fact that you go out of your way to track this stuff down and the creativity and the thought you put into like, I think it's freaking awesome.
And it's the thrill of the hunt,
Yeah. We're going on a hunt. Yeah, the bathroom stories, says Brandon. Yeah, the jug of liquor laced with LSD.
Oh my God.
Which I mean, that's what you get when you hire, real bikers to
Yeah,
drive motorcycles through your shopping mall. So it is,
and that's probably mild compared to what actually happened.
yeah. The flippant way Savini's character signs the kids' mag and Night Riders was impressive
Oh man,
for the con
never
tables. Yeah,
thought of
it
it
is.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, very true. Sean says, Tom, are you going to buy something Savini? Yeah, I've heard that before too, where he's just like, yeah, you're going to buy something or what? Like, I'm not just going to stay here and talk for you. I've heard that story before. Savini is much nicer outside of cons. We see him every year at Little Italy Days in Bloomsfield or Bloomfield, and he's always nice.
Cool.
Yeah, like I said, I've heard. Who was it? Somebody went to visit. I can't remember who. I don't know if it was a post on Facebook or something like that. But somebody went to visit the Fluffy mural, and they ended up running into Marty Schiff and Tom Savini, and they were saying that they were both just super cool, super nice. They were just like, "Hey, you like this movie?" And they were just like, "Holy shit, you're Tom Savini
You're
and Marty
done,
Schiff."
yeah.
Yeah, they were just there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So I don't know. Like I said, I think Savini's just kind of maybe conventioned out at this point. Maybe I don't know, and maybe he's just awkward that way. Some people are just not, you know, personable in that kind of way.
Well, I was in a band called Savini Effect.
Oh, really?
Yes, back in the day, my first, second real band I played drums in, we covered horror themes, instrumental, and we did everything from Halloween to Deadly Spawn to Demons to Nightmare City, and we made them our own covers. It
That's
was just
awesome.
me on drums and synth, and bass player and two guitarists, and it was a blast. And we landed on the name Savini Effect. And Tom, I remember telling Tom about that at like Horror Hound, and he was very humbled by it. And he's like, "Yeah, I've gotten some messages about that. Is this my band or something?" Like, yeah, there you go, man. We named it after you. So,
It's all for you, Tom. It's all for you.
yeah,
Um, that's pretty fun. What? How old were you when you first started playing music?
I was 10 years old.
Wow, I was 13 when I got my first guitar.
Nice.
I was in my first band when I was 14, 15, something like that. It was a Christian rock band, but they needed a lead singer, and I was like, "Hey, I get to be in a band. All right, I'm there.
Fuck yeah, right.
Yeah, I'll sing whatever you want me to sing. I just love being around this."
Awesome.
But yeah, I've always like tried to incorporate Romero and horror into all my songs. Like I've written songs called like "Blood and Black Lace" was the name of a song that I wrote when I was in high school. Um, One of the songs I was in a band called Legends of AM Radio, and one of our songs I called it "Living in Pittsburgh." Dot dot dot. If you can call that living, because that's the Groucho Marx quote that they use at the beginning of Document of the Dead, and I was just like,
Oh
"That's
yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah.
cool." He's like, "Ah, it's like living in
Blowing smoke,
Pittsburgh.
yeah.
If you call that living." And I was like, "That's perfect. I'm gonna name a song after that." So yeah, I've always tried to incorporate Romero and shit like that. I did the Sprites George Romero song.
Uh,
Have you heard that before? I learned everything from George
oh yeah, yeah.
Romero, Dario Argento.
God, that's right. Yeah, I haven't heard that in a while.
I did an acoustic cover of that at one point. So yeah, it's always kind of blended in. Um, how old were you when you started that band? What were your
I
first
was
band?
23.
23.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
we
I
stayed
started.
together for a long time, and then people just got in relationships, and
Yeah,
relationships turned into marriage, and then kids came along, and
yeah.
we had to call it quits. But it was such a blast because I still hang out with the two guitarists because I never met anyone. We have so much in common, like movies and music. It was just we clicked on
Mhm.
every single level.
Yeah,
Fucking awesome.
23 is a rough time to start a band, because around those mid 20s, everybody's, like you said, they're kind of branching off into relationships and marriages and children and stuff like that. That was always the hardest part. That's why I don't play in bands or anything. That's why I just kind of gave it up because I was tired of like trying to, you know, depend on everybody else. And it's just like, it's just like, maybe every now and then I'll just pick up the acoustic and record something solo. But
You still play though, right?
yeah, I
Okay,
still
cool,
play.
man. Yeah, that's
I
awesome. Yeah,
pick it up.
music is just it's something you never whatever changes you get in your life and having a family and kids and stuff like that, keep music in it. If you have that talent, you can play an instrument. It's so like gratifying.
Yeah, I was talking about this the other day. Usually, like when I'm really hungover, That's the best time to sit down and write a song because you're like just beaten and just like, oh man, I feel like shit. So I'm just gonna let it come out.
And
And
see what
those are
happens, right? You're
yeah,
in
those
that
are usually
state,
the
you never, yeah,
yeah,
I've
you're
been there
kind of in a
before.
haze. You're just kind of really in your own head, and you're just like, all right, I'm just Those are always the best days to write. Your best stuff is days after you hit it hard the night before.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, music. That's one thing I'll always be gravitate to. And that's a big thing I like about I don't know, like movies, like is score soundtracks and stuff because to me, like that's probably the most important part of a movie is the score, the soundtrack. I mean, they talk about John Carpenter showing Halloween for the first time without the score, and people were like, I don't get it. This isn't scary. And then he puts the score over it, and they're like, oh, this is terrifying. So and the same thing with music. I love music that feels cinematic in some
Yeah.
way. So it goes back and forth. Will saying that Tom Savini Smoke and Mirrors Blu-ray is still on sale. He just bought it earlier today, actually. So
Nice.
$2.99, you can't beat it. I mean,
No,
it's
you
a nice
can't.
nice little package and everything too. Um, so that's good to know. So it's still out there. Oldies.com, I think, is where you can find it. And there's a couple other spots. Since then, Deadly Spawn, that was a wild movie. Um,
So is
what
Dawn of the Mummy. That's another guilty pleasure. I always like that movie.
Under the Mummy, yeah. Makes me think of Planet. What makes you think of Planters Peanuts? What were we talking about that I missed here? I'm behind on the comments, guys. I apologize.
I don't know. It's a good
Yeah,
question.
that's a Dawn related prop like too. The Planters Peanuts. You
Yeah.
can do something with that. Synth making music keeps me more sane or healthy than anything. Yeah, that's true. No therapist or meds needed. Absolutely.
Because there was a Planters Peanuts can behind Roger
Yeah.
in the hideout.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was because there's like I don't know if it was just the top of the Planters Peanuts thing or if there was a cup on top or something like that, but it's
Something, yeah.
yeah, I've always remembered seeing that and thinking, yeah, Rick saying, great therapy, synthetic music can do wonders for your mental health. I mean, yeah, that's so true.
Mhm.
Like, especially, I haven't played drums in a long time. I was a drummer in a band for quite a few years, and I haven't played drums in so long because I mean, moving, to a neighborhood, you can't really just set it up and play whenever, and I don't really have anywhere to put them. But yeah, that's one thing that man, you get behind the drums and you play for a little bit, like you're getting a lot out. Like you feel so much better after the fact. I'm sure
Yeah.
you agree with that.
Yeah. I mean,
So
just
it's
putting
like
on a YouTube playlist, putting my earbuds in and playing along with, I mean, everything from like soundtracks to fucking ACDC to like NES soundtracks, like Mega
yeah.
Man. It's just it's so awesome.
So did you learn? So are you like trained, or did you learn to play by ear? Because
Well,
I just learned to play
my
by
dad
ear.
was a percussionist, and he got me and
Okay.
my brother into being percussionists and drummers, of course. And it wasn't until middle school when I started to get into playing like a drum set. And
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, I want to play drum set instead of just percussion. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta play drums. You know,
I
it's
never. I
like the
never.
best thing ever.
Guitar was always my thing. Like when I first saw Nirvana Unplugged, that's when I said I need to get I want to get a guitar and I need to learn these songs. And that was when I got my first guitar, some of the
Yeah,
first stuff I learned. But drums just kind of happened because I was like I said, I was always in bands in high school and stuff, and I was always around drums. So anytime the drummer would get up, I'd go sit down and tinker around, play a little bit. I'd just get a little better, get a little better, get a little better. It's like okay, I can
awesome.
figure out how to do this. I can do this. And then me and my buddy started a band. It was just a little two-piece band. We were just like, hey, nobody else wants to play. Let's just me and you play something. He's a fantastic guitar player. And I was like, I'll just try to keep some kind of beat. I'll try to keep it all together. And then it just clicked. It worked. And like I said, it just kind of grew from there. And we actually ended up playing quite a few shows and made an album and all this other shit. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that's fucking
So
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
I just kind of fell into drums. Like I was never great. Like you're way ahead of wherever I was. But in terms of just like what our music needed, it, I got better and better and better as we went. But uh, but yeah, man, this has been fun. I appreciate we're at about 2.5 hour mark. I did not get interrupted tonight by my daughter. She
yeah.
must
See
have
that.
I was trying to wear her out today. I took her to the park, took her to, we got home, we went swimming, let her swim for a while. I tried to wear her out and make sure she was good and tired for the night. So it actually ended up working out pretty well. So
Yeah, this was perfect, man. I had a really good time tonight. Covered a lot of cool stuff. I'm glad I could share my collection with the world and other fans too. And if you got any other questions about anything that I showed off, like send me a message or something. I'll post a photo or something when can explain it more in depth or something if someone wants. So
yeah, this was a lot of fun seeing this stuff because I've seen some of your stuff before, but I was absolutely pumped to have you come on and show like piece by piece, like and explain everything. Because I'm envious and of that. Like I have a lot of shit, but like that's an aspect of collecting that I'm very envious of, and I'm kind of I'd like to get a little bit more into as we
yeah,
go
I
on.
mean, and this side of the basement, like up here in front of us, is where like the TV and like a beer stuff is, and behind me is like my this is my slice of heaven.
Your Dawn
Drums,
Cave.
my keyboards, and my Dawn of the Dead stuff. Like perfect.
That's the perfect man cave there, if you ask
Yeah,
me. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on tonight. I had a lot of fun with this. Definitely have you back on anytime you want, man. Just let me know.
sure, definitely,
Um,
Michael.
like I said,
Definitely, man.
we'll definitely. I think it'd be cool just kind of have like a round table at some point. Even just kind of get multiple. Hopefully, if my internet and shit can handle it. It's been glitchy here a little bit lately, but it came through all right tonight. So
Yeah, no, you like sputtered out or whatever, like I think twice, little tiny second things, but otherwise it was flawless. So
awesome. Technical difficulties be damned. We can get
yeah,
this done. But that was awesome. Thanks everybody in the chat too. It was fun seeing you guys. Matt, Will, Sean, Rick, the North Going Llama, of course, Synth as always. Great seeing all you guys as well. Brandon Salisbury, I'm glad you stopped in, man. Good to see you again. Which I don't think I've ever actually met Brandon in person. Every year at Living Dead Weekend, I'll see him like in the distance, and then he's always busy going too. So that's definitely one thing I need to do next year. I need to meet Brandon next year, and
well, the dates have been set, so
yeah, that's
awesome,
right.
man.
What is it, June 6th to the 8th
Yep,
next year, I believe. And it's
2025, the dead are alive. I think that's
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, I think they're just going for night, dawn, day, and land because I mean it's
Yeah,
20th anniversary of land, 40th of day. So, uh, yeah, I'm already looking forward to it. I'm just like I was just like, man, 11 months.
yep.
It's just got to hold out 11 months. Although,
It's worth the wait. It'll go by fast. It always does.
yeah, it does. It does actually end up going by fast, but so do most things in life. And unfortunately, the older you get, the quicker things come. It seems like
Yeah,
because when you were a kid, it was like when Christmas was over, it was like fuck. This may be. I'll never experience Christmas again. This is going to be forever.
right.
But,
Never again.
yeah, this can't be over already. Um, but yeah, appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it, Paul. Have a great rest of the night,
Absolutely,
man.
man.
Everybody in the chat, have a great rest of the night, a great rest of the week. Like this as well. I forgot to say that earlier because I'm not a very good YouTuber, but like the video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Paul's channel as well, PFM Dude, at PFM Dude, if you will. So yeah, like, subscribe, and as always, stay scared.